We are.
Are you sure about this?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show.
Oh, God. Hi.
So, welcome to the show. All I got to say is, and if you didn't hear it, coronavirus. Yes, we're talking about it. We're also going to talk about how it relates to wrestling. There was a show last night. There's going to be another show Monday at the Performance Center for WWE. I don't know what AEW is going to do. We're going to talk about that because I think there is a very valid point. And I will talk it. There's nothing really going on with New Japan. The only thing that New Japan has is Will Ospreay. I do want to talk about that.
They've been coming out with talk shows on New Japan too.
Yeah. So that being said, let's get into it, and we'll start off with SmackDown last night. I'm gonna say this. Yes, SmackDown has WrestleMania. WrestleMania has not been canceled yet, from what I've understood. Correct? I haven't seen anything that says WrestleMania is canceled. So I think they're revisiting it next week to find out. Go ahead, Gina.
Trying to wait. I'm sorry. I was just going to say they were trying to wait to see, as the date gets closer, if maybe the pandemic would calm down a little bit.
Sorry, guys. I was on mute when she was talking.
So we're talking about SmackDown. Obviously, I think the one thing we all have to agree upon immediately is the fact that we have to applaud them for at least putting on a show.
Yes.
Regardless of the fact, and they introduced it really well with Triple H coming out, right?
I thoroughly what Triple H said. Remember when 9/11 happened?
Yeah.
And they had Jack Buck came out and he gave a speech, and it was broadcast to all the stadiums, and he said it's now time to play. That kind of gave me chills because Triple H is that kind of guy that, and this is why I don't think it was building towards anything. I mean, yeah, they did a little bit because of the Sami Zayn match, but
well, even the women's match.
Yep, and at the end they did. But the thing is I think that this show itself was for everybody and Triple H said it best. Sit with everything going on, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show while we try to put a smile on your face for at least a couple of hours. That makes sense for me for him to say that. That's why I enjoyed the show, because I'm like, okay, so we're just going to watch you just do
the expectations were so low, right? Like, I mean, I didn't expect anything from this show for the most part. I didn't even expect the show to happen. And when he came out, and the fact, I think the biggest takeaway for me for this SmackDown, Triple H came out and said that, and then he came out and delivered it exactly. He tried to be as entertaining as possible. He was probably the most entertaining thing on the show.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, Michael Cole was pretty fucking entertaining too.
They had good back and forth, those two. Yes. Great chemistry.
Yeah, yes. Great chemistry together. And not only that, but like Triple H wasn't even supposed to be out there the entire time. And apparently the internet loved him so fucking much that they brought him back, and because he said it. He's like, well, apparently the internet loves me, so here I am again.
And I'm going to say this. That is what the fans wanted him back out there. So what does Triple H do? He comes back out and gives the fans what they want. That is how you respond to the. I just stole Heather's thunder, didn't I? Oh, okay. That is how you respond with, we're going to give the fans what they want. That was good. And I thoroughly enjoyed everything Triple H did, because it was not only funny, it took my mind off of having no crowd.
And that was the point.
And it wasn't fucking... There was very little acting involved. Yep. The guy was being as much of himself as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Cole, too.
Side. Yeah, everybody seemed like a bit unleashed and a bit more relaxed on that
And
show.
Michael Cole even said, he's like, all of this stuff that you're doing to me tonight, putting me through it, was taking me back to the DX days when I was getting beat up by you guys.
He even mentioned
The
that they
whole
were going to
thing.
shoot the whole night through, and
Yeah.
that's what people want to see. People want to see fun, and the scripts aren't fun because it's not their words.
Did you guys pick up on when Triple H
Oh,
basically told the entire universe that Michael Cole had just gotten back from taking a dump?
Yes, he was in his own elimination chamber.
Yeah.
He took it. Oh, go ahead, Heather.
With this that happened, it pointed out the quickly that yes, they can still punch without a live crowd, but it also points out the bad part.
What's that?
There's no other commentators we have right now that can do the same thing that Triple H and Michael Cole just did.
Yes,
Right.
and there were
A good point.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying, that was amazing. Now you need to go and teach your commentators how to do that with
Just
Michael
let
Cole.
them be themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same thing for the wrestlers. It's widespread throughout the company. Like Triple H is a guy that can come out and carry a feud even at 50 years old. The young guys just don't have it, and I think there's been an era of oppressive reign or like an idea of the way that WWE like suppresses creativity in the company.
Correct.
And the wrestlers just kind of live under the idea of that fear and never want to take that step forward to be what they should be.
Right.
But I also think at times they practice suppressing it too.
You know what? I actually just watched an interview that Chris Jericho did like a while ago already. Like this was right after AEW first started. And I watched it the other day, and he was talking about Vince and how he was able to get along so well. It was on Busted Open Radio.
I think you listened to the exact same thing I listened to a while
Yeah,
back.
like he was talking about like because Bully Ray asked him, he's like, you and Vince always had such a great connection, but yet you were always at each other's throats. What was the key there? And Jericho said that Vince is not your typical ass kissing boss. He doesn't want you to kiss his ass. He wants you to come at him with challenges, and he wants you to come at him with different opinions, and he wants you to be your own self. And I think a lot of the newer superstars these days, they don't realize that right away, so they're afraid to do that, because you see like people like Bray Wyatt, like with the Fiend. Bray Wyatt went at Vince and he said, listen, this is my idea, my character needs something, and look what happened. They had the Fiend. Now granted, he was booked wrong, but the Fiend character is amazing.
Yes. Well,
I mean, the thing is, the Fiend character is definitely something that could like take off really quick with a lot of the audience. Regardless if you like him or not, he did have that special something, obviously not booked correctly. But I also feel like this is just a widespread thing from in general now. Most people get a job, you kind of have to toe the line. There's no fighting back against your boss. You fight back against your boss, you get blacklisted, and eventually you get released or just never promoted, never moving forward. It's not the same as it used to be, where you can kind of work your way up through a company. Today, you can't, and I would say the same thing doesn't apply to WWE, but the mentality exists there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think like you've seen a lot of superstars like suddenly make this change, whether it be Bayley or I don't know, Bray Wyatt. There's been a whole bunch of them that has happened to, and I think that Becky actually was one of them, and I think that that's because they had an idea. They weren't afraid to take it to Vince, and whether Vince liked it or not, if they felt, if they felt in their heart that this was what they had to do, they argued they argued their point with Vince until it finally he was like, okay, let's try it.
I feel like a lot of the wrestlers that do come out and present something, say Bray Wyatt or Becky Lynch, and they roll with it, and it's hot as fucking shit. Then you have these bookers that are listening. the thing is, WWE books very short term for almost everything. They want to reward their fan base because they literally are like most of the video game industry. They want to. They don't think people are going to stick around unless they get rewarded quickly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you get to a place where you are handing out rewards left, right, and center, and nothing means anything anymore.
Yep.
And
Totally
I
agree.
think too that
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, JP. Go ahead.
No,
Okay.
I was just agreeing. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say too, like all these people that are saying like superstars like Ricochet are being buried. Okay, yes, Ricochet is on main event. He was on main event this week. However, Ricochet has been in the spotlight for the past 6 months, and he didn't show Vince anything. In order to get in that spotlight and stay in that spotlight, you have to prove yourself week in, week out with win or loss. You have to prove something to Vince. And he might not have done it this time, but that doesn't mean that he's getting blacklisted, or anything like that. He's everybody needs to take their turn at the top.
Ricochet will end up in the same conversation as Cesaro at the end of his career, in my honest opinion.
I agree. My thing is with Ricochet, and I know we've said this, I like his wrestling, and this is the problem. It's not just about the wrestling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Agreed.
You can be the man who can do a 1080 fucking swanton, but if you can't talk, that 1080 swanton, it's gonna be there, and it's gonna be there for a spot, and that is it.
In all honesty, JP, when has it ever really been about the wrestling in WWE? Like
That's
early 90s.
You really go way
early
back
90s.
and you go into the 80s and the 90s, yes, but they were also the people that also got pushed were the ones that could work the mic and had a character.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
as time progressed, the Attitude Era, it was more about the character than the wrestling itself anyway.
Yeah.
Well, wrestling
Ruthless
has
Aggression
always
was mixed bag.
I mean, WWE has always been more focused on the entertainment aspect of wrestling, so you do have to have that special coalition between wrestling skills and mic skills. But I think that the same thing, going back to what we were talking about with Triple H in the commentary, they have to be able to stand their own ground on commentary by just being themselves without being so heavily scripted, because that's why everybody hates WWE commentary 90% of the time, because they are heavily scripted and they have people in their ears all the time. But last night proved that they don't need to do that. Like, people actually enjoy it more when it's organic.
Right.
Now, I mean, there's one thing I do want to point to. Like, Triple H's commentary was over the top because it needed to be. Because you have the lack of audience. So a lot of the show needed to be streamlined. They don't have the entrances. They have to fill time. And Triple H was a welcome thing for that. Now, do I want to see someone that's kind of taking the attention almost away from the wrestlers at times on a consistent basis? No. So, I mean, as much as we praise him, I think it's the environment we're praising him in. And I think he's doing exactly what he needs to do in that environment. But if you put him on a SmackDown, he does the exact same things. I guarantee you over time, people love him immediately. But in a month, people start hating because of the fact that he detracts from what's actually happening in the ring or what the wrestlers are saying.
But that's something that Triple H is so great at, because damn well that if this was a regular match with a regular audience, even if he was out there in commentary, he wouldn't be as over the top as he was last night. He knows how to change himself in different circumstances. Whereas last night, not only did they have to distract us from the fact that there wasn't an audience, it was just the point of the whole show was just to distract people from what was going on in the world. And they did a great job.
That was the point. I honestly, that's what I think the point of the whole show was. I don't think the show was to build to WrestleMania. It happened. They just did it. And I want to say something about that. I was wrong. I think they might be pushing Drew Gulak. I really do.
Oh, didn't we all? I remember having a conversation with you guys and saying that Gulak is going to team with Daniel Bryan because that was kind of what they were going forward with, and I think he's going to be kind of his mentor. But at the same time, probably they're going to be in tag matches together and stuff like that. I don't consider it a huge push for Gulak, but it's putting him on the radar on the main roster when he was buried in 205 for how long?
I honestly think it's a huge honor for Gulak. Not that Gulak is not just as good of a wrestler as Daniel Bryan, but with the history that Daniel Bryan has in WWE, the fact that WWE is choosing him to kind of have this like kind of mentorship with Daniel Bryan on screen is, I would take it as a huge honor. Daniel Bryan is one of WWE's golden boys.
That being said, I do think they need to pull the trigger and create a tag team out of them because there's no real world that Daniel Bryan needs a mouthpiece. It's good that they haven't presented it that way. They presented it as someone that's, but this was a guy that got over for his wrestling, so he doesn't even need a wrestling coach either. It's more a confidence man, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the way. Sorry, JP, go ahead.
I was just, you're good.
Sorry. I think the way that the way that I viewed it as they presented it was, Gulak obviously said at Elimination Chamber that he knew the holes in Daniel Bryan's offense, so to speak. And Daniel Bryan was like, they're using Gulak in order to fix the flaws that Daniel Bryan has. And I have a feeling that that's going to go vice versa as well. Like they're going to kind of be building each other up until they're like this. They seal the holes, and then I could see them making a definite tag team out of them, or either that, or they're gonna push the shit out of Gulak. I really don't see them pushing Daniel Bryan so much anymore because Daniel Bryan is he's not old. Don't get me wrong, but
no, I can't accept that argument at all. I know you like it's just because. Maybe because of the injury history, but like we turn the tables and look at Shayna Baszler, 40 plus, being pushed to the moon.
No. I that's what I was saying. Like he's not old by any chances, but he does have a long history of injuries, and not only that, but Daniel Bryan has had his chance in the spotlight more than once. So I can definitely see them going with Drew Gulak because Drew Gulak is the second coming of Daniel Bryan.
I think they're going to be looking at like a kind of character rebuild, starting him back at the bottom and building him up from there, potentially for next WrestleMania or something for that big pop. Because Daniel Bryan's always going to be capable of getting a big pop. It's just people need to remember why he was that moment was so important. Because they absolutely flubbed his return. I mean, they did, in my opinion, some okay things. He wanted to be heel. They went with that. But like look at Edge's return versus Daniel Bryan's.
Speaking of returns,
yes,
Jeff Hardy. Do you guys think that it was I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand why they had him there last night because he was billed to be there, and the other two people were not able to make it, or John Cena did make it. Paige wasn't able to make it. I understand. But in the same sense, do you guys agree with bringing Jeff Hardy back at a time when there is no fans in the audience to appreciate his return?
I really could care less.
I actually think it would be a detriment if they didn't, considering Paige wasn't going to be there. Paige, I don't think people really cared that much about. The only benefit was the backstage segment with Jeff Hardy because they obviously let Baron Corbin go. This guy was fucking all over his fucking drunkenness.
I think the only reason they were going to bring Paige back was a tease that she was going to wrestle, and she wasn't. She can't.
I mean, for everything that the SmackDown did, they kept it focused on what has already been currently built for WrestleMania and what could potentially be, even though it was the type of show it was.
Yes.
I do have a question with Paige though. Is her neck injury similar to what Edge had?
It's worse.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was.
She has a pin, or whatever. She has if it moves at all, she's dead. She could die.
Well, I remember her saying that like she was almost paralyzed when it happened the last time.
Yeah.
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 Right.
At least I don't
Well,
think.
and I think that's probably why they ended up having Asuka come instead. Which what the fuck was Asuka doing?
Well, they're building the tag team title match.
No, I understand that, but like, is it just
dancing on the
me?
fucking. I can't handle her moves, her movements.
Is it just
Yeah,
me, or does she seem like she is absolutely 100% psychotic?
No, she seems to me like somebody that's 36 years old trying to act like she's 20. That's what it seems like to me. She seems completely out of touch, doing these fucking cringy ass movements all the time.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've kind of turned against her
She's like her
recently.
mom. She's like a mom trying to blend in with her teenage kids.
She is at times, yes. I can agree with that.
I'm hip.
Her actual character that she had, where she kind of like beat people up, and that's it, was the best of her that I've seen recently. I don't know, like her, they become the iconics. They just get out there and screech in a different language. Who wants to hear that? Who is that for? Is my question.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand who is that for.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Asuka. I really don't. I really don't know.
I had a couple questions. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's in the same boat as Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke's not out there fucking screeching like a fucking banshee.
No. But I think
Oh my God.
that Vince wants her to do it. She's like, fuck it, I'm getting paid to do it, and I'm having fun, so fuck it, I don't care.
Speaking of Shinsuke Nakamura,
Mm-hmm.
I fucking died last night with Triple H. Well, after that Sammy promo backstage, and then fucking Michael Coles was like, what do you think, Triple H? Can we make it official? And he's like, after that amazing promo from Shinsuke, you bet. He didn't say anything.
He was throwing more than just pot shots. He threw a pot shot at eight. Well, he did it. I can't remember what he said. I think it was a shot at Excalibur.
He also
He went after Wrestle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a straight jab at Wrestle Talk. That was freaking hilarious.
I think he threw a jab at Excalibur. He threw a couple of jabs at Vince, which was pretty fucking funny. He had me laughing last night. That's all I'm gonna say about
Oh my God.
him.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
think when Michael Cole goes, what are you doing? You see him holding the camera. He goes, well, we're short staffed. He goes, don't zoom on my bald spot.
Well, that was pretty good when he's out and he's like, what are you doing? He says, we're short staffed.
Not everybody can sit behind the commentary table and do a bad job at it.
And keep their job. This is the one. Sorry, go ahead.
No, he was great, man.
He was.
He was, but like the biggest takeaway for me from SmackDown is the fact that they were topical, but not. They were actually. This is the one show I've seen where they were kind of in tune with the audience's voice. They were poking fun at the things everybody pokes fun at. That's part of the audience. They were kind of like working wrestlers' actual faults, like Jeff Hardy with the drunkenness, but like teasing more than actually insulting.
Yeah.
And even like the promo with Roman Reigns, you could tell he probably had a couple, like, this is the points we're going to hit on, so prepare yourself. Mm-hmm. But he was much more like just natural with it. Yep. John Cena is always kind of natural with it, but everything kind of seemed just relaxed. Yeah. And I think, like we said, that's the vibe they wanted to send out to everybody. Relax, watch us, we're entertainment. Mm-hmm. That's what it's for, not to be so uptight about everything. Mm-hmm. And them kind of working the audience into it and all the complaints from the audience into it was like the best thing they could have done.
Right. And there is one thing. Sean Ross Sapp put out that, you know what I'm talking about. And it was just them during commercial, they were rest period. Oh, yeah. They're, doing their thing. Alexa Bliss actually tweeted at him, just sit back and enjoy what we do. Actually, that right there was an international broadcast. They were showing that as
Yeah.
they were, yeah. So sometimes these superstars read too much in. Every time they put something out, they get way too fucking critical of what is being said or shown. It's not they're not shitting on it. In fact, that is actually one of the cooler things. Who cares? That's what I always thought they did. They just said called the timeout and fucking did nothing for 2-3 minutes.
They kept things relevant in terms
Yes.
of the WrestleMania, but they didn't fucking. They basically did exactly what Triple H said to start with, and
Yeah.
that's the who else has done this right now that has entertainment or media backing. Everybody
Nobody.
else is like panic, buy all the fucking toilet paper, eat each other's asses until you die.
Well, and that's the thing, because like WWE, they have the ability to broadcast because they have their own performance center. They don't have to rely on other places to be open, in order to do this. So they can do it. And that's why I was saying last night in the chat, this might be a chance for not only WWE, but whatever other wrestling promotions are still going. If they have TV time, then this might be a chance to actually bring in some wrestling fans because there are no other sports going right now.
No.
Everything is halted. Like wrestling is the only thing that is still going.
This might also be a chance to quell some of the fucking retarded fan base that's pitting one against the other. When something more, I guess, more serious is going on in the world, and they come out and they say, "We're here to entertain. This is what we're doing." It's kind of like I mean, I felt like this fucking atmosphere of garbage in the wrestling world, where like the at least the wrestling fan base that's all online are like, I like this, fuck you. I like this, fuck you. Constantly like that. And it's, man, just take a step back and realize you like wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And this might be an opportunity for that because nothing is being taken that seriously as what the media is portraying with this fucking coronavirus.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, don't get me wrong. There was one part in SmackDown that I didn't like. I understand completely why they did it because it's kind of hard when you have no audience and limited wrestlers in the back. It's kind of hard to fill a whole 2 hours. So I get it. But when they replayed the whole match from Elimination Chamber, just about.
Mm.
I just got done watching that match on Sunday, so I didn't really care for that. But it was something that I let slide because I was like, I get it.
Well, I mean, the best thing about that is when they went to a commercial and they came back and Triple H is sitting there and he goes, "Welcome back, going back to the Elimination Chamber," where Michael Cole just came back from our Elimination Chamber. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like the other thing that I didn't like, sorry, JP,
Sorry.
the other thing that I didn't really care for had nothing to do with SmackDown last night, but it was kind of the build to WrestleMania, and it was the decision to make the who is it? It's Drew and Brock or Roman and Goldberg.
Oh yeah, well
they're
said
closing
it.
WrestleMania.
They
said it, but I won't take it as like the gospel until it actually happens.
People jump the gun when he said.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if it is
There's
the main event, it's the main event. Who cares? I mean, I get it, but I'm not going to sit here and complain about it because he said.
Yeah.
Like other fucking podcasters, they hear the word Roman Reigns saying I'm main eventing, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's main eventing WrestleMania. I guess it's all about fucking Roman Reigns. Look, come on, man. Think about what you're saying. Think about this. What you're telling me is that if you went and people are like, there's 2 Royal Rumble matches, are both of them main eventing at the same fucking time? Come on, man. Think about what you're saying.
Well,
not saying that they're main eventing. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna just say. Like, there are several main events to WrestleMania. Like, they don't classify the last match as the main event. Like, there's always several
Now,
main events.
the only
However,
thing, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, if they do close out the show, fine, whatever. The only distaste that I have for it actually has nothing to do with Roman and everything to do with Goldberg.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the point there. I'm more of along the lines of when you book a pay-per-view, especially something like WrestleMania. Look at the actual reactions you would get with certain endings. Goldberg or Roman winning is not going to make the crowd go crazy. Drew McIntyre dethroning Brock Lesnar is probably going to get the best fan reaction. And then Edge versus Randy Orton, and Edge coming out on time was going to get a great reaction too, but that doesn't have a title attached to
Okay,
it.
I'm going to tell you exactly, and you can sit here and say that's wrong, whatever, but this is the way WWE looks at it. This is what I have heard. I've actually heard higher ups say this. It's not about who wins the Royal Rumble. It is about what match or what people put butts in the fucking seats.
It is, but I mean, if the butts are already in the seats at the beginning of the show, in my honest opinion, it's just like the old adage of you want to send the crowd home happy, which is why they do dark matches all the time when they have the final match not being the match people paid for.
Correct.
In my honest opinion, I think Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar is the main event, more so than Goldberg and Roman Reigns, though. That should be up there as one of the it's technically co-main events, but I'm just thinking of what would send the crowd home more happy and more anticipating to watch the next Raw, which is the next show.
Yep. Agreed. So yeah. Any Trek? Any thoughts?
No, and I agree with that. And just we've all been, so worried about this and stuff. That's why I was so happy. I enjoyed SmackDown last night.
So worried about what?
About the whole illness going on, the whole coronavirus. Everything.
We'll talk about.
You
that.
just told us to watch saying that word, and now you say.
Well, I'd say illness because
It's called the Rona.
My Corona. My Corona.
My Corona.
I have to admit, it did take me a long time, and I still don't think I am used to seeing a wrestling show with no audience. And a lot of that has to do with the promo packages and even though they don't give them the full entrance, the walk down to the ring and showboating. Yep. It's difficult for me to fully get with that, and I think that's probably going to be exposed this Raw. But it is what it is. What can you do?
Yep.
I'm used to seeing audiences not being there. I used to watch TNA all the time.
Okay, so you're fucking one-liners. All right,
so
let's move on to crowds. Here is my issue, and this is where I think AEW is hurt. And I told Heather this in the car today. They're crowd reaction based, at least from my observation. Watching
I think every wrestling promotion.
No, but them more so, in my opinion. They don't have that commentator that can do what Triple H can do. And don't tell me JR can do it or Tony Schiavone
I disagree. They have Taz.
Who?
They have
Well,
Taz.
I mean, I don't
Taz,
think
Taz isn't that guy that can. I don't think Taz.
But is Triple H going to be commentating on every fucking Raw?
No. I'm just saying. I don't think this is actually going to last very long.
No.
But I'm just saying, if it does drag on, I don't see. Taz, and I'm like, no, not really. Taz is a great commentator, but he's not one of those guys that can. You want to sit there and listen to Taz commentate about what? What happened? What about in between the matches? I don't want to listen to Excalibur talk.
Well, I feel like what AEW is going to do, and this is probably what they should do, if they're going to be performing in front of an empty arena, then they need to turn the show a bit more into being the elite. They're able to perform in all those those YouTube shows without audiences around. So you just take a break from being the elite and infuse it into AEW Dynamite. And
There
that's
you
it.
go. That's what I would do.
Yeah, well, either that, or if they want to have their commentary table, then bring out stars that can talk. Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, not Kenny Omega.
No,
Kenny
not
Omega's
Kenny
okay.
Omega.
Kenny Omega's okay when they're just like talking amongst each other, but when you try to give him scripts and shit, like when you try to like have him actually talk in a wrestling thing, it's weird. But
yeah, he's really an awkward person, and he works well in a tag team because it kind of hides it. Mm-hmm. At times he's fine, but at times he's just like, oh my god, this is the person that I would walk away from in public.
Mm-hmm.
You know who would be great on commentary to bring that comedic edge would be Hangman Page, because he can be very funny if he sets his mind to it.
I get it, but I just don't see any of them being that.
I don't think like the crux is to have that, because I think this is a one-time thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to last.
I think all promotions are going to have the same problem. I think the audience means the same thing to Raw as it means to AEW, as it means to SmackDown. The only difference is New Japan, but even then, the visuals of the audience is important.
And the audience itself in New Japan is also very important, because even though they don't react the way we do, they still react.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say any promotion that can work in the backstage and pull off, good promos and good segments will be okay, because the in-ring work is going to become secondary at this point in time.
The only reason why I am not worried about AEW in that aspect is because a lot of the guys that are in AEW came from the indies, and some of these indie shows that they were playing had 3-4 people at the shows, at live shows, so they're kind of more used to performing in almost empty arenas. Kevin Owens put out a story about him and Sami Zayn today, so those guys are used to it too. It was just further back for them.
Well, my big thing with AEW more so than WWE is WWE has the Performance Center. It's being used for something else most of the time, and they're just capitalizing on the fact that they have it to run shows out of it. Mm-hmm. AEW does not, so they literally have to pay the full amount to get an arena that they are not going to get any revenue from.
Right. The only thing that I could think of that they could do would be to either, I know Heather mentioned the Hardy compound. Otherwise, Matt and Jeff, they have a couple of outdoor places in California that they used to wrestle. Yeah. So they might even go ahead and do that.
They might. Who knows?
But yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, it's going to hurt them if they have to pay for an arena that they don't get revenue back for.
Yep. The one thing that I did not like is the lighting. Last night, I just, especially with Jeff Hardy, it's too elaborate, and you couldn't see anything.
I think they wanted to do it basically because of you need something.
No,
that's going to distract people from the empty seats, and the SmackDown lights all over the fucking place kind of helps.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying for short term it's fine. Long term, I do not want to see it.
I was actually really surprised that they didn't make like the seats, the lighting by the seats a little bit darker.
Yeah.
So that it almost looks as if there's nothing there. Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe they were actually trying to sell the point of an empty stadium, because it is a selling point at this point in time, as weird as it sounds. What I was actually wanting, what I would have loved them to do, and they've done this before. Remember when WWE invaded ECW and they had a camera in like a booth, or like, an area where WWE, all the WWE talent sat and watched the show?
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked something like that, and just put the wrestlers that are not in the match currently, just give us a reaction by them, because at least they're entertaining. And like, I mean, you have the New Day in the booth or something, just something that kind of like dictates when people should be cheering, or just a little added something. And I hope they do that for Raw, because Raw is gonna be a fucking
I
slog at 2.5 hours
for
long without commercials.
Yes.
for Raw, I could definitely see something like that. SmackDown last night, I don't know if they needed it, because I actually enjoyed being able to watch what was going on without any distractions of fans that were going on outside, or we didn't have green shirt guy, or we
But
didn't have
that was
fucking
filled by
some bitch
Triple
that
H.
keeps on gyrating.
A lot of the things that were missing, that would have been missing from the show, was filled by Triple H. But if he's not going to be there on a night-to-night basis, they're going to have to do something. And why not go with the resources you have that are currently there?
Yeah.
See, Monday night, I don't know. I hope that they have Triple H there, or Vince, or somebody there on Monday night to fill in that commentary, because otherwise, the Monday night commentary table is not going to be able to do it.
No, because Byron Saxton sucks.
And so does Jerry the King Lawler. Like,
Right.
he doesn't suck by, like, individually by himself. Okay, he's fine. But when you pair him with Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton, it's awful. It is awful. At least bring in Michael Cole. Put King with Michael Cole.
I agree.
It might be doing that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Another thing repealed on SmackDown, guys, and this is not Jeff Hardy was, but also fucking Gronkowski.
Yeah.
The big Gronk.
Okay, the only thing that I got entertained by with that was when they started beating the shit out of Michael Cole.
Okay, so my next question is what are they doing with Mojo Rawley? Now that Gronkowski signed, they're turning him back into that fucking hype.
He was going nowhere otherwise. I mean,
Yeah.
he's fucking. I don't think. I honestly think Mojo Rawley is just terrible. I don't like him in ring. I don't like him on the mic. But he's going to be utilized as a catalyst for Gronkowski because of his fame.
Yeah, and Gronkowski's only there because of who he is. And people were like, "Well, I think Gronkowski will be good for what? For what? He's only there because WWE's gonna make money off him because of who he is. It has nothing to do with whether or not he can wrestle."
The way I look at it with Gronk, I mean, if he trained to be a wrestler instead of a football player, he'd probably be pretty good because he has natural charisma. But the fact of the matter is, he didn't.
Athlete. But go ahead.
But
He's not a wrestler. He's got natural charisma and he's an athlete. But there is a huge part of that puzzle he's missing, and that's the part of the puzzle people expect.
Yep.
Because now wrestling, the in-ring work is through the roof for every company.
Yep.
Well, and JP, I think you were the one that said it last night, that him maybe coming in for backstage commentary.
No, that was Heather.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I started thinking about that, and unless he's like mysteriously been training at the performance center and nobody has picked up on it, which, I mean, come on, there's people that literally stand outside the fucking performance center just to see who's going in and out of the performance center all day. So it's kind of hard to hide the fact that he's going to train there.
Mm-hmm.
But unless he's been training there, he's got to be coming in for some sort of announcement, like commentary type thing.
If they do that, it is a failure. I'm not saying he can't talk, but you're going to bring his name, and he's popular. He's pop culture through and through. To bring him in just to do commentary, people are going to be like, "What the fuck is this? Why is he not wrestling?" So that I doubt.
Oh, I mean, they might have sent him to one of the other wrestling schools that they're affiliated with.
He might have trained somewhere else.
They might have.
And not only that, but they might have had Mojo training him too for a while too.
Oh God, no! He's really gonna suck then. But anyway,
I don't know. I feel like Ronda Rousey came out and she impressed me, so I will give some credence. But I just feel like Ronda Rousey needed something to prove, and Gronk is just living his life. He's gonna come out like fucking Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ronda Rousey, there are rumors flying again that she's gonna come back at WrestleMania.
Which she better, because that match between Becky Lynch, if WrestleMania goes on, Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler, I'm going to fucking throw myself off a fucking balcony before that match.
Oh, it's happening.
I will say this. If Shayna Baszler wins and Ronda's music hits, I would be lying if I didn't say that I would pop. Because I do want to see those two fight.
I don't.
I actually hate Shayna Baszler in ring. She is like
terrible.
And it's just she's her character in ring. She's for me. It's kind of the similar feeling I have for Randy Orton. I appreciate the fuck out of him and I respect the fuck out of him for being able to pull off his character in the ring. But Randy Orton is one of the only wrestlers out there that'll go out and fucking methodically move around, hit a couple moves and fucking slither around where everyone else is doing like fucking moonsaults and 450s off the top rope. This guy is still wrestling in the bygone era. And I will not lie when it says it does affect me when I watch his matches.
Shayna Baszler, she can just fall off the face of the earth and I could care less. I do not like the woman.
I think like what sold Heyman is her look. The way she carries herself and her look. She looks like she could be dominating.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is she doesn't. A lot of people were saying, after the Elimination Chamber, she's the female Brock Lesnar. I'm like, no, she's not. She's not throwing people around left, right, and center. She's not physically dominating anybody. She put four or five other women in a headlock and won.
Yeah, I didn't like the end of that match. I'm just gonna say that now. I think we talked about it. I hated it. I said it. I said it on Twitter. I'm gonna be honest with you. To have her do what she did to all them people, you have literally killed your entire women's division on Raw. Who is going to, if Becky wins, the only person that can come back is Ronda Rousey. Okay? And that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think Shayna Baszler is winning the title. I don't think they're doing it. I think it's going to be Becky and then Ronda's musical hit.
If Shayna Baszler doesn't win, she's kind of dead in the water, right?
But I mean, if Becky wins and then Ronda Rousey's music hits, that would make so much sense because Becky has been bragging that she's already one of the UFC girls.
And I think that's honestly going to happen because I'm of the same mind as a lot of you, and I don't think, due to her age and everything, I don't think she's going to be pushed as the next champion.
No,
Shayna Baszler.
She's 40. She's 40.
Yeah. She's Samoa Joeing it.
She is.
Yep. And that match took... Go ahead, JP.
Nope. Go ahead.
That match at Elimination Chamber took way too long. There are too many dead spots in the match, especially when,
do you want to know why there was too many dead spots in that match? Because Shayna Baszler got into the match.
That's the pacing. It's the pacing, and whoever produced that match needs to be shot in the face because they thought they could sell a minute and a half of two women or men. It doesn't even matter yelling at each other through a fucking glass door.
Yeah. Too many dead spots in that game.
Yeah.
In that game. I'm sitting here watching Heather play video games. Too many dead spots in that match. It's stupid. It was a stupid match. Shayna Baszler. I'm not sold. I am not sold. I wasn't sold when she was in NXT, and I'm not sold now.
My problem with Shayna Baszler is they basically went from a champion very similar to her and Asuka to her. Like the similarities were too strong. Shayna Baszler never really did it for me on the mic, never did it for me in the ring, but she has a certain look and booking that really helped her. And I think they're floating on that, but I do think that this is going to be basically her swan song to be Samoa Joe.
Yeah. Agreed. What else is there out there?
I heard that Sami Callihan is saying if this goes on any longer, he won't wrestle while the coronavirus is going on any longer. Well, he can never wrestle again.
You know what? He can't even fucking type or speak properly, so fuck him. I have no respect for that guy, first of all.
I could care less.
If Sami Callihan is fucking my news source for the virus, I might as well take a shotgun and blow my own fucking brains out.
If Sami Callihan decides to never wrestle again, I'd probably drink an entire bottle of Cherry Doctor. I could care less what that guy fucking does.
Yeah. He's a reckless piece of shit.
I mean,
Wow.
otherwise, I really haven't heard anything as far as like major wrestling news. I know, like we said before, WrestleMania is still kind of up in the air.
Right. There is one thing. Will Ospreay
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
did him and some other people are putting together or did put together something on YouTube, and it's like a pay-per-view thing, but it's free. So I don't know what's coming out with that. I'm pretty sure Gina is going to be following that shit because
Yeah, it's on Monday. They're gonna bring it out on Monday. And if you give me just 1 second, I can tell you who is on the list so far. I know 2 names off of the list. That's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he was talking about when he said we were doing something that's going to help people get supported?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only to help support the wrestlers and stuff, but it's also just to give people something to do, because at that time there was no word on when he started getting this together. There was no word on SmackDown or any of the rest of this, so he had no idea if any other wrestling was going to be. They have somebody called the OJMO versus Paul Robinson, whoever the fuck that is. Some tag team match that I don't know who the fuck they are.
Okay.
Another one or a couple more one-on-ones that I have no idea who they are. They're mostly British wrestlers. And then Will Ospreay versus Bea Priestley.
Okay, hold on a second. Will he's fighting? No, his wife. They're married. They're married. Will Ospreay is fighting Bea Priestley. Something must have happened at home with them two fighting.
Well, I think that she's gonna kick his ass.
I doubt that.
Apparently they spar up together quite frequently, but it's just for like training and stuff. But
well, I'm just gonna say this: she needs to pay more attention to him because she sucks.
Yeah.
Oh my.
But yeah. There's really nothing. Let's talk about the coronavirus.
So no, we got. Well, I mean, we can, but we really talked about.
We can talk about Drew McIntyre being my hero for stopping the stupid ass storyline on Monday night.
What are you talking about?
Basement's just like, stay away from the fucking coronavirus. I don't want to talk about it no more.
I mean, we will because we have to, but
we have funny stories. But okay, so what did you say, Trek? What
he's talking about? Drew McIntyre coming out and smashing that spider.
That storyline.
Okay, let me see. No, that storyline was going to die anyway. Drew McIntyre didn't stop it. That storyline was dead when they revealed what it was.
So, like, here's my question: like, for all of the other stuff, for all the like want for long-term booking and everything, this is the perfect example of tone deaf WWE.
Yeah.
You want long-term booking? Here it is. We're gonna make him bring out a fucking lobster trap. And in 4 months, you'll realize it's an animatronic spider, and Drew McIntyre will kill it. Like, what the fuck? This is like prime example of like, don't watch wrestling, please, because this is what you're gonna see.
You remember when Jake the Snake used to bring out the snake and like put it on people after the match? That's what I thought Roman was gonna do. He's gonna chase people around with the freaking animatronic spider and put it on. He's gonna like DDT him or said that and knock him out. Put the animatronic spider on. Like, oh my god, he's putting the spider on him. That's what I thought they're gonna do. Instead, we get to the Drew McIntyre match where he puts it on the floor. I'm like, oh, he's gonna. I thought he was gonna like Claymore kick it or something like that or stomp on it. But then like he's gonna do it. You know what the announcers will get like, don't you dare do that, and they're like, he's gonna kill somebody. They didn't give a shit.
I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna agree with my fucking original fucking belief. They should have never showed what was in the cage. At some point in time, McIntyre, for instance, could have just fucking Alabama slammed him on the cage and blood would just spurt out. And he would get rage. And there you go. At least he's got a reason to fight someone.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think that they killed that storyline as fast as they did because of the response.
Yeah.
from
the
that.
fuck did they expect?
It was not a good response.
For all those people that love spiders or fucking animatronics out there.
And that's
Like, it's
why they didn't give him a real one.
stupid. It was one of the stupidest fucking things I've ever seen.
More scary if they would have used a real fucking spider.
Yeah, but the people
It's
jumped
so
on them.
bad. Yeah, well, what I would be okay with them using a fucking tarantula, but even then, it was whatever it was going to be stupid. We all knew it was going to be stupid from get go.
I thought it was a snake.
I thought it was going to be a sheep mask or something stupid like that.
It should have been
be
fucking Mae Young's
so
and.
I'm just really thankful that it was not a snake.
So I do have a question. Now, I don't know, Rochester, New York, they changed, and I'm talking about AEW now, they changed their venues to all of them going to Jacksonville. Now Jacksonville is closed down, which I knew it was going to be closed down anyway because they're shutting down Florida, essentially. Yep. Disney World or Disneyland closed or whatever.
Disney World,
why would they say, okay, so, and I know why they did it, but then didn't they take into account that Florida has one of the higher rates of this shit going around?
Apparently not.
So here's the thing. Because there hasn't been an announcement by AEW or anything, I'm going on the presumption that they made a deal that if there were
through Tony Khan, because he probably has sway.
Yeah, that if there were no fans in attendance, like if they were supposed to have 100 fans in attendance before they shut everything down. So I'm wondering if they didn't make a deal that, okay, if you shut everything down, will you still let us do this if we have no fans?
Yeah, but they still have to pay, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I bet you any money that it's fucking Tony Khan. He could probably get it at a discount.
But like in the end, it's a business, and like being at a net negative at the end of the year is not going to be a good thing.
Right,
they're going to be a net negative anyway, regardless. But
right, but let's see here. You have Tony Khan who wants to rent out the building, and he's not getting any revenue back for it. But yet, as the people who own the building, wouldn't you be like, okay, we'll give it to you for like half off, because you're either not making any money off of the stadium that day or you're making half of the money.
True.
I don't know. I
That's just a guess because they haven't announced anything yet. So who knows?
Yeah. Right now, the way it is in Florida is no more than 250 people can be in one place.
Yep.
Just rely on dark. It's YouTube, but you still have to have a place to wrestle. I mean, I'm sure they have schools and like I can't remember. I think it was Alpha Horror's Reign that said like
the Nightmare Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do something under there.
Yeah, the Nightmare Factory or the Hardy Compound.
But I don't even know what the Nightmare Factory looks like.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, as long as it has a ring, it should be okay.
That'd be great for the Hardy Compound, but I don't know, man. Matt Hardy hasn't signed with AEW.
No, he hasn't. But him and the Young Bucks are such good friends that I wouldn't imagine that he would say no if they said, hey, will you please let us shoot on your property?
For $1 million, I'll let you.
Yeah, you know he's gonna ask for.
I ain't
money.
gonna fucking let them fucking do shit for free. Fuck that shit. I don't care. It's business.
Aren't they supposed to be doing some like studio show? Why didn't they just do like a bunch of those, tape them all once, and just like put them all on like for an hour on TNT every Wednesday? They're supposed to be doing some studio show where they do like roundtable talks. You might as well try that out for a couple weeks.
Well, we have to wait and see what they say.
Yeah,
what they're gonna do.
Let's see what they do on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I was gonna say if push comes to shove, like Basement said, you can always do like the Being the Elites, or you don't even have to film a new one. You could just show like the past. I don't know, like
the best matches in AEW history throughout the whole history of AEW or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you could do like best matches, or you could do like 5 episodes of Being the Elite.
The best matches in the last 6 months.
Right.
I don't know. There's going to be a way that they do something, but where they do that and how they do that, we're yet to understand.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yes.
Would you guys be okay
No.
If they did delay WrestleMania, shut up, JP. If they did delay WrestleMania until June or July, if it meant they got rid of Money in the Bank and put it back on WrestleMania.
I would prefer them to put Money in the
Fine.
Bank on WrestleMania regardless.
Yeah, same.
But I feel like April comes around, the 2 weeks are going to be done. I feel like WrestleMania is still going to happen.
Yeah, but there's reports by ESPN the Tampa government's looking to, they might call it off if Vince is being stubborn and he won't listen.
Okay, so I'm telling you right fucking now, if this fucking shit is going on until then, you know, because look, this is mass hysteria, fear mongering bullshit. I don't care what anybody fucking says. You can tell me that, well, we have 30 cases in my town. Well, stop fucking spitting on each other and shit then, dumb shit. Wash your fucking hands. I'm serious.
But that's the thing, though. But that's the thing, though. You're talking about WrestleMania. That's 70,000+ people in the same arena, and not everybody has the manners like we do. You know, a lot of people out there are just fucking disgusting creatures. They cough without covering their mouths. They'll sneeze on you.
Okay.
You know, they don't wash their hands. That's 70,000 people. That's a huge risk.
Let me throw this out there. Do you know what this virus? Do you know what people are getting sick from this virus?
Not washing their hands.
Old people.
Old people.
Well, old people and young babies or young kids are going to be the most susceptible to the flu in general, because that's what it is. It's the flu. Right. I mean, you might say what you want, but it presents exactly as the flu does.
Many old people are going to go to WrestleMania. I mean, old people.
But hold on. Here's another factor with this as well. That's 70,000 fans. A good third of those fans, if not more, come from overseas. And with the travel bans right now, they can't come.
I'm going to say right now, if WrestleMania gets the green light to do WrestleMania, they will have no problem filling that stadium.
Yeah.
Lower the ticket costs, people are going to go.
They won't have a problem filling it. But you're going to drive part of the world away with.
Not necessarily. Not if they say, we will bring a pay-per-view over there and we'll give you a, like the Super Showdown, a WrestleMania-worthy type pay-per-view.
I don't know, man. 70,000+ people. If this shit's not over by then, I don't see taking the chance.
Okay, I'm gonna say this then. Then every time somebody catches a fucking cold, shut it down.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because the rhinovirus, which is the common cold, has no cure.
But I honestly think it has nothing to do with the severity of the illness at this point in time. It's the media backing it, and the fear and panic that's out there. Like I said, I think even today, if WrestleMania was to happen this weekend coming up, if they were given the green light to go ahead with it, they would probably fill the stadium.
Yeah.
Just lower the ticket costs, because there's going to be a certain amount of people out there that'll be like, I don't give a fuck, whatever, it's happening, let's go. There's people still traveling. There's people still doing everything they shouldn't do.
It's ban everything. Shut it all down. If somebody catches a cold, shut it down. Somebody gets the flu, shut it down. It's just
but you're acting like this is just like some mediocre cold. It's not.
It's the flu,
if you have a low immune system, or anybody in your family or friends have a low immune system, yes, but they said for people with low immune systems that this thing can be 10 times worse than the original flu. That's coming from the CDC itself.
So I'm going to say now, if I have the flu, I'm not going to. If I have the flu, I'm not going to go visit my 90-year-old grandma.
But I'm just saying, like I wouldn't take the chance personally, because I have my children who have asthma. I have asthma. My mom has COPD and a burnt lung. I have people in my family that could die from this disease. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not just the people that are attending; it's their families, it's their friends that they're around.
I'm going to honestly say, by the end of this whole thing, when they actually get the numbers correct, the mortality rate will be very low. in
the
comparison.
mortality rate is like not even a third of the survival rate. And it's not that I'm saying, oh, panic now. That's not what I'm trying to say. All I'm saying is, like, with as many people as are getting sick, I don't see getting 70,000 people in one stadium and risk spreading it even further when you could kill it. You could postpone it, kill it, and then have it later in like June.
So my question is, like, right now they're doing the 2-week isolation, basically worldwide.
Yep.
I don't see that, and not only for wrestling, I don't see that going further than that.
Yeah.
And the economy even fucking lasting.
Yeah.
Because you take everybody out of working and everybody out of making money, and everything, like, the widespread problem that's going to cause is way worse than anything else. And I think at some point in time, businesses, anybody that's a small business owner is completely fucked already.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're going to be so much worse if they last longer than 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here they're like some places are shutting schools down for the next like 2 weeks to a month, and you have parents that are, some people, their jobs are shutting down, and they get to work from home or whatever. But parents who are working in, say, retail, for instance, like my friend Ashley, shout out to Ashley Sweetly out there, but she works, I believe, in retail, or wherever she works, she has to still go to work. But yet her son is out of school for the next like 2 weeks. So then she's sitting there going, what the hell do I do? Because these people need daycare for their kids, or they need somebody to watch their kids, or they can't go to work.
I'm going to say 60% of the actual population, if not more, is going to be in the same boat as she is. And eventually they're going to have to say, we're either going to supplement you through the government, or we're sending you back to work. And if it's the government, they're sending you back to work.
Yep. I think, like Basement said, it's 2 weeks, because I saw articles saying that, I know Saturday Night, we don't like Saturday Night Live, but it's scheduled to come back in 2 weeks. I'm like, so they must think it's going to be over in 2 weeks, because otherwise they wouldn't risk it anyway with that. Especially in New York, they wouldn't risk that. So,
well, I mean, I know, like Bella's school is still going as of right now. But they're making preparations, in case they have to shut it down. But even they said that they would be gone for like 2 to 3 weeks, just long enough to be able to completely disinfect the school, change the air filter systems, all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, here it's March break for the kids, and they're going to get an extra week to 2 weeks after that. That's not like that. I think for the kids and everything, it's a problem that's going to eat into the parents having to be there for them. But like, you shut down major businesses for a month, and stock market dies, economy's fucked, and it's going to take years to get back to where we need to be.
Yeah.
So I like, at some point in time, people are just going to be like, let's look at the legitimacy of the actual thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
And if it's killing old people that don't work anymore, young people that can't work, we're going back to work.
Yep.
Well, like, the people that I actually really feel bad in this scenario for is the daycare providers, because, like, you take these kids out of school and their parents have no choice but to go to work. So then these kids have to go to daycare all day long. Well, who has more vulnerable kids than a daycare? Daycares have babies and small children in them. And then you're bringing these school-age kids in the mix as well. And plus the parents coming to pick them up and all that stuff. So, and it's added stress on the daycare lady. If they do digital days like my child's school is doing, then the daycare has to do the digital days with the kid. For school, it's a lot of stress for the daycares.
As soon as they shut down schools here, they shut down daycares here too, and none of that is open for the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, no, here the daycares they're still open.
But but the most thing, like, I'm going to say the most important thing to do is take a look at like areas with a huge amount of population. That is really who's going to dictate how this gets handled moving forward.
Well, right now there's 21 cases. Like, JP, I don't know how many cases there are in Wisconsin total right now, but in Minnesota, like, I just looked at the numbers before, and there's 21 cases, and a good 70% of them are in the cities.
Well, we have over 200 confirmed cases in Canada, but our population size is 37 million. That is panic. That is mass hysteria.
Well,
to be like, we're going to shut down the world when the percentage is so low.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually looked at the actual numbers today, and I believe the total number worldwide that have been diagnosed was something like 150. It was a little over 155,000, and the number of deaths worldwide was a little over 5,000. The number of cases of people that got it and were just fine afterwards was over 68,000.
Right. And
So,
the thing is Italy, which has the most deaths, the average age of those deaths is 81 years of age.
well, and I think Italy in itself is a relatively pretty old country, isn't it? Like there's just like a very old population.
Yeah. So in the state of Wisconsin, we have 27 cases. Nobody's died. One person's recovered.
I just don't see like the world continuing to be shut down for what I have seen so far, as at least statistically with this virus, for longer than the time frame that they've already accepted. I actually would have bet money saying they wouldn't have even shut down with statistically what has been proven. But as soon as the news got a hold of it and turned it into some sort of fucking crazy ass shit, then everybody's looking at their employer being like, "And you're not shutting down for this?"
Yeah, and fucking everybody out there, quit buying TP for your bunghole. You don't need 58 rolls of toilet paper for 2 weeks.
Somebody took a picture. Well, y'all know him. Scotty Frame took a picture. Some lady had fucking 30 gallons of fucking milk in her cart. That shit's gonna fucking spoil. Dumb shit. That fucking shit's gonna spoil before you even get through a gallon. You just wasted money.
And
Dumbass.
that's the problem, because like when I see shit like that, especially when it's food or some sort of edible product, it kills me, because you know that that's all gonna expire, and there's so many people out there that probably could have used a gallon of milk.
Right. It's stupid. People are dumb. But what else is there to discuss?
So
Go ahead.
AEW had fucking Lance Archer or Lance Hoyt, whatever
Yeah,
he's gonna go by.
I do want to talk about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he showed up with Jake the Snake as his talking piece. I'm kind of like at times with AEW. This is another example of being like, why do you keep pairing the elderly with guys that probably don't need it?
Yeah.
With Lance Archer, I think that it's Jake's not necessarily his mouthpiece. It's kind of like Arn with Cody. He's more like a manager, so to speak. Kind of like Jimmy Hart was for the Hart Foundation. He's more like a manager and just building Archer up to be this badass.
But I'd like, the thing is, I like Jake the Snake's promo. I just the fact that he was cutting a promo for a wrestler kind of just did not work for me. Why not put the wrestler in that point? Because right now, Jake the Snake cutting the promo gives Jake the Snake the whole rub for me, because of the promo he cut on Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe they want Lance Hoyt and Cody Rhodes to go one-on-one, but both have the same advantage of having a legit veteran in their corners. But I personally don't understand why they keep doing this. They have Tully Blanchard with fucking Perfect 10. It just seems like everybody needs to have someone attached to them.
With Hoyt and Cody Rhodes, I'm beginning to wonder if it's a little bit less about Cody and Hoyt and a little bit more about Arn and Jake.
Yeah.
Which is terrible. It should never be about two guys that are never going to fight in the ring.
Right.
Agreed. I am this. He comes out and then doesn't do anything He already ruined his debut. I would have had him. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't like it.
I would have had him not being announced on Twitter and come out and cut the exact same promo Jake the Snake did and leave.
Well, and not only that, but Lance Archer, he's known for murder hawk. Everybody dies. So instead of coming out and sitting in the crowd and Jake telling him not to do anything and all this shit, no, he should have come out, marched his ass to the ring, and just fucking annihilated everybody in that ring, because
and
that's what he does.
Jake the Snake and Archer are such a terrible combination, because Archer is nothing like Jake the Snake.
No.
Jake the Snake couldn't wrestle, but he was always in someone's mind, and he always played mind games. Archer kind of just comes out and beats the shit out of people.
Yes, he does. Sorry, I didn't take a drink. I'm not a fan of what they did with him.
I mean, you got him being paired with another old guy. You have Shawn Spears now looking for a tag team partner on the internet. And I just don't 100% get where that's going to go.
Yeah. And here's another thing with this thing. Now, I guarantee it, the Exalted one is going to be a lot longer off now because of this bullshit that's going on. And I call it bullshit. I don't care what anybody says.
They're still calling for him to come this Wednesday.
I hope his name is Coronavirus.
Nice. So silly. I wouldn't do it with nobody there. I don't think
AEW they love announcing fucking everything. I get some of it, but I don't. The Exalted one, like, you're teasing this guy forever, and you tease his entrance or him being there, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you didn't need to actually look at any of this teasing. You're just gonna see. We're gonna tell you before he shows up.
Yeah, but you know what the thing is, though, they still haven't said who it is, and yes, people have been contemplating. Oh, it's got to be this person. It's got to be this person. There's been no definitive answer yet. And,
I just don't like the idea of
like
telling people
guessing.
that they're
I agree with you there. As far as like with Spears and this tag team partner that he's looking for on the internet, I believe that AEW has hired someone already from independent wrestling, and they're setting it up to where Shawn Spears is going to pick this person.
Mm-hmm.
And they're either going to become a legitimate tag team or it's going to start a feud between him and that person. Like, I don't see Shawn Spears just randomly going through and picking somebody on Twitter that he likes. That's not how AEW is a company. So they obviously had to have already hired someone.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, at this point in time, too, with Shawn Spears, like, I don't care about him. I liked Ty Dillinger, and I was willing to, like, see what he could do, and I was wanting him to do something, but his pairing with Tully Blanchard so far has really gone on deaf ears. So hopefully they do what they've kind of been doing with the Dark Order and kind of make me take a negative and turn it into something that could potentially be positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like with the whole Matt Hardy thing and not knowing, like him teasing with the Young Bucks, last week on his YouTube channel and stuff, not knowing whether he is signed with AEW or he's just kind of collaborating with AEW right now. I like that. Like, they need to stop fucking, like Basement said, they need to stop announcing their signees. I mean, unless it's somebody that we don't know. If it's somebody that like normal people are not going to know, then pre-announce them.
I might actually be behind AEW with the Shawn Spears thing to do, where he brings somebody in that's actually an internet personality that has proven that they can wrestle, and kind of goes through a couple different people, saying like, I thought you were the one, but you're not, obviously, because you lost. But what that does is it brings the audience that those people hold online to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it gives like a lot of the people that are super fans of these wrestling personalities online, a reason to watch AEW moving forward. If they're willing to be that in tune with the audience, why wouldn't I check it out?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, but they need to stop announcing the big names and just debut them. Like just surprise us.
Yeah. The surprise in
Especially,
wrestling is gone because of social media and these fucking dirt sheets. Because if the dirt sheets hit on it, they're gonna and you know how you can tell. And
but
these guys are smart. They're reporters, and these guys are smart. If they go, you throw a name out there, and they go, well, I can't really say what that's your name.
you know what
Yeah.
though? I'm
And
okay with the dirt sheets coming out with somebody potentially debuting, because it's not 100%. When the
Right. It's
true.
company
never
comes out,
100%
it's
until the
100%.
yeah.
So, like, they don't need to get ahead of the dirt sheets because the dirt sheets aren't always correct. You can have, like, hey, Archer could have been 90% speculated to be on AEW, but the fact that he wasn't announced by AEW still creates a surprise with the audience. When
Yep.
AEW announced it, there's no surprise. We know now. There's no, I don't know.
Yeah.
What is it?
The,
My thing is, what is it with wrestling fans today? Like Lance Archer showed up, and the crowd was going, "Holy shit! What the fuck did he do? What the fuck did he do for them to
it
say
was
holy
just a
shit?"
surprise. Like
But it
It
or
wasn't
not
was a
the
nothing.
surprise,
surprise.
not the surprise, but it was the holy shit, Lance Archer's here type
No.
So,
reaction.
and I would say AEW fan base is similar to ECW, where they were very passionate and very a certain it's a certain type of wrestling fan base that visits those shows, the vocal fan base,
Yeah.
because they pop for a lot of things that wouldn't get a pop for other promotions.
Yeah.
And they kind of like ECW fan base was the same, where it's like they would almost semi hijack a show. And I feel like AEW fan base doesn't hijack; they respectfully hijack, where they chant things that don't need to be chanted at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the type of fan base that they want and the type of fan base that they've built. In the end, I mean, I the fan base is gonna do what the fan base is gonna fucking do. I don't know. People fucking WWE fan base cheers CM Punk, who's not even an active wrestler. They cheer for Lana anytime Lashley or Rusev shows up, and they don't want to even see Lana.
Yep.
So
Right.
it doesn't make any sense.
I think with AEW, the two main things that I they have to change is one, like we said, the naming of the people before they debut, and then the second one is like when Cody Rhodes or the Young Bucks or anybody else goes on an interview, and we've touched on this before in the past, when they go and they do an interview and somebody asks them if they're looking at somebody, they need to keep their mouth shut because the last time that Cody fucking opened up his mouth, oh, well, I'm looking at this guy, Impact signed him literally less than a half an hour after that.
Yeah.
So they're losing talent by being too open.
Agreed.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's a couple things. Like, I'm waiting to see how they kind of like play out with AEW. That's been my approach for most of what they've done, and they've failed. They're 50-50 for me. Certain things have fallen off, and certain things have surprised me. So, that's not a bad thing. The pairing of Neville and the Lucha Bros is kind of weird to me. It just
That's
it kind of came.
triangle.
Yeah, but it came out of nowhere. It doesn't fit either of their characters.
Well, and not only that, but you take a look at the match that's supposed to be happening this week, and it's not even a triple threat match. It's a 2-on-2 match. It's a tag team match. Like Pac is not in that match this coming up week, and neither is Colt Cabana or Christopher Daniels. Like I believe it's isn't it SCU versus the Lucha Brothers, or it's Hangman Page versus, I don't know. It's somebody versus the Lucha Brothers.
See, I honestly think AEW needs a mid card title, a singles men's mid card title, and I don't think it needs to be a stand. It could be a standard mid card title like the IC Championship, but it also could be like a title that they create something around that makes it be like a stepping stone to get you to the championship. I don't know. They need something because they have a lot of really good singles talent, and they only have. You can build up feud. They have basically their main feud for the title, and they have their main feud for like people that are actually just feuding because they have personality issues, like MJF and Cody Rhodes, or Cody Rhodes and Archer. But they still have a couple other guys that need something.
Well, look at what they're doing on NWA Power. It's got the television title. If you could, I think it's if you could successfully defend that 7 times, you get to go after the big title. So I like what they're doing to promote that. That's how they're building it up right.
Yeah, like a mid-card title that is literally built to be a stepping stone to the championship.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of NWA, are they still?
They're off for the next 2 weeks because they're doing their the Circle Squared.
Oh, that's right.
And then they're also doing like the studio show, which they've been talking about too for a while. So I don't think this was even the response to that. They had that planned for like a week or two already, for what I've heard.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's not a lot happening. Except for this fucking the Rona that Gina so eloquently put it.
Yes. The Rona.
I mean, wrestling for me, in all seriousness. I'm sorry.
Seriousness.
I am so tired. Seriousness has gotten to be all of them just seem so the same. There's nothing different about any of the promotions. Nothing. Especially when it comes to the wrestling. None of it. None of it. Not to me, anyway. And it's just really bored the shit out of me. Like, I sit here and ponder why I still watch.
Yeah, I feel like a big factor for me that got me thinking in the similar mindset is as soon as WWE decided to do 20-minute matches for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now like a long match means nothing because you are extending a match that should have ended in 5 minutes for 20 minutes for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's bogged down the wrestling portion of wrestling.
Yes.
Agreed. And I think that's one of the reasons why SmackDown last night was such a refreshing, so refreshing for all of us, because not only was it comedic, but you didn't have those really long, drawn out matches.
Yeah.
And it was just a breath of fresh air when it was desperately needed.
Yes.
No, I actually think like when the breath of fresh air comes from it kind of being a break from the wrestling we actually see.
Yes.
Like literally, I feel like how many times did we talked about? We were talking about I need a break from wrestling because it's it's too much of the same. As many people have said, this is a great time for wrestling fans. It is, but at the same time, it's not because as there's too much of it to make it special anymore.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe this will help reignite my passion.
You did say it best when it was the other night when you said wrestling cannibalizes on itself. I think that's how you said it.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's technically the truth because I mean, one thing gets popular and then everybody jumps on it, and as soon as that one thing is popular, exactly, and it just that's a microcosm of what exactly is happening. As soon as Kenny Omega had a 60-minute match, greatest match ever. You know what? We're gonna put our blinders on and look at the one thing that made that match good: the length. Not necessarily the story being told, not necessarily the reason they're fighting, but the length. Any match is better when it's longer. And WWE is the biggest problem with this because they tend to react to like what the wrestling world is doing, but react to it in the stupidest fucking way possible.
Yep.
They don't look at things like Kenny Omega versus Okada, or even Okada versus Ibushi. They don't look at everything that was transpiring, not just within that match, but leading up to that match to make that match so good. Like you said, it's automatically, oh, it's the time. That's why it was so good. No, it's the chemistry that these wrestlers have in the ring. It's the storylines that led up to it. It's the story that they tell in the ring. There's so much different shit that goes into that good of a match.
But
Can't do it with
WWE
just
does
60 minutes.
WWE does this for everything that they do. And then you hear fucking Corey Graves on the podcast being like, it's just the way wrestling is now. People, they love a character like Becky Lynch, but then she has to evolve that character. It's like the thing is her character. It's not her character wasn't the problem. It's what WWE decided to do with that character. She could have run the gamut with that character for a lot longer than she did, but instead they said fans love it. Title, she needs to hold it. She needs to, like they just go blindly forward and do a bunch of stupid shit.
Yep.
I asked for one more cookie. Well, we're gonna give you 20 cookies.
Well, and
We're
not
gonna
only
shove
that,
them
but
down your throat. God damn it.
But to what Corey Graves said, where she has to evolve it, everybody should be aiming to evolve
But Corey Graves
their
is like,
characters
that idea is kind of yes, the character should evolve, but you shouldn't be put in a place where you need to evolve a character after 3 months of being a
immediately.
character.
Yeah.
That is a problem with the way that they book and their idea of listening to the audience. The audience wants a potato. We're gonna give them 500 until they're sick of it. Like
Yeah.
it's tone deaf. They just go in one direction all the fucking time, WWE, and they kill everything that's good about someone. Fucking look at Bray Wyatt. Look at the Fiend's character.
Well,
If handled with care, he could have been great. Handled by WWE, just fucking get off my TV.
And the way that WWE has been going for the past 5-10 years, just kind of steadily going down, not as far as like their company goes, but just as far as the product is going. They're steadily going down, and that's one of the reasons why a company like AEW exists today, because you had those wrestling fans out there that were not happy and they were being driven away from WWE, which was the primary for everybody for years. And then that gave Matt, Nick, Cody, Kenny, that gave all of them the platform to be able to step up and team up with Tony Khan and start AEW. So ultimately, that's what created the fucking controversy that's existing now.
Here's the fucked up thing with WWE, because as much as we talk, like as much as I've said about their how tone deaf they are, there are moments of complete clarity. Like this last SmackDown, they were on point. They had their finger on the pulse of the fan base. This last SmackDown,
they did.
I don't understand how you could be one way, but like it's not. I don't understand how you can be one way, one day, one thing, and every other day, fucking. It's like 6 days of the week. WWE has brain damage,
but
and then all of a sudden, one day they're like, "Oh my god, I'm the smartest person alive." I don't get it.
I said that as a couple of times already. I think we've all said it. That's one of the things that makes us so aggravated with WWE is the fact that we know that they're capable of doing amazing shows, but they just choose not to. And that's what makes me so fucking aggravated about it.
I mean, with me, and probably just me alone, it's the way I feel about all of it, to be honest with you. It's not just WWE, it's AEW, it's NWA. Haven't really been paying attention to it. But, I mean, New Japan has been around for, 3 weeks now?
Something like that, yeah.
So, I mean, I can't just sit here and say it's WWE this and it's WWE that for me.
Well, I'm going to say it's WWE because of how tone deaf they are and how much of the market
I'm speaking for myself. I'm not going to sit here and just, because for me, I am as bored with AEW as I am WWE.
But my question is, are you as bored with other companies because of WWE?
I don't
because
know.
WWE is the main thing we all watch, and they kind of take on the trend of other wrestling. When wrestling gets WWE is not innovating anything. They are
No.
literally stealing from other companies, but doing it piss poorly and making what the other companies do at times worse because I see it done worse, but see it all the fucking time in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right there, but still, just because just because it's WWE, I can't just blame WWE. I'm going to blame both. I don't care.
Well, I
That's
mean,
just how I feel.
there's certain things I will blame, and I could pinpoint on New Japan, AEW, easy. But with WWE, it's like because I've seen Raw, SmackDown, even NXT. NXT, the thing is, they produce and make NXT, and NXT for the most part isn't tone deaf. And I get maybe Raw and SmackDown aren't the shows for me,
Hmm.
but I don't know who those shows are for at all. And the fact of the matter is, you're gonna have fan base that loves some of the wrestlers on Raw and SmackDown because you have grade A wrestlers through and throughout your roster. So
Well,
it frustrates some people that are huge fans of the wrestling that these guys could potentially put on, or these women could
mhm.
potentially put on, and you're throwing it away because you're actually not pleasing anybody because your audience is just so wide and you're so tone deaf to what people are actually saying.
Yeah.
And even with NXT, like I can't put my finger on it. Like I don't
Something's
know
up.
what I don't know what it is, but something is off for me with NXT. Ever since the last takeover,
Yep.
something is just
Um,
off, and I don't know what the fuck it is. But
It's because they're now incorporating it ever since Survivor Series. They've incorporated NXT into SmackDown and Raw. They were doing okay, and then up until about Royal Rumble, that's when it happened.
yeah,
yep.
see,
I remember
and
talking about this. We all
Yeah.
talked
yeah,
about this.
I don't mind that Finn Balor is back in NXT because they weren't doing shit with him up on the main shows anyway. So I
Yeah.
was fine with him coming back. But I think for me, my distaste with NXT started when Charlotte came back
Well,
because I'm sitting there going, why the fuck is Charlotte Flair?
I'll tell you why.
I
It's
know why.
it
It's
it it's
TV
be
deal.
it's be yeah, it's because they want people to start watching NXT.
Yeah,
And Charlotte is one of those women who, and they're Twitter. They're always doing their Twitter this, Twitter that. They said it last night.
hmm
9 of the top 25 women on Twitter belong to the WWE.
yeah. I
So
mean,
they're
don't.
that is what they are hitting on.
Yeah,
That is
don't get me
why.
wrong. I understand that, and it's a good move on their part as far as to get viewers over to NXT. Fine, good view or good move. It's just for me personally, I don't. NXT always held this special place all on its own for me, where it was like they didn't need the main rosters in order to be a good show, and now it's just I don't know. I dislike it
No, they
I'm
don't.
I'm
right now.
this is my honest biggest gripe with this whole thing. Um, Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. This is a match that would be booked on a Raw or SmackDown, but
Mhm.
like the leading up to WrestleMania. NXT, look at their track record. Do they hotshot people?
No.
No.
Rhea Ripley has been hotshotted
Yep.
completely, and that's what sticks out to me because I'm looking at Rhea Ripley's booking and I'm thinking, man, is this a SmackDown or a Raw? Because she's literally became champion and then went on to fight. It's like fucking anybody becoming champion and the first person they fight is John Cena or Ric Flair.
Mhm.
It
Right.
doesn't.
And
It doesn't really make sense. Their first defense is supposed to be about the most dominant against the most dominant woman in wrestling history. And if that's the story that they were going to be telling, maybe I could get behind it. But the way that they've told it right now, it seems like they're at high school bickering. because
Yeah,
they infused fucking Bianca Belair, and both of them have like I don't know. It's a huge miss for me.
It is.
I mean, I probably wouldn't have such a problem with it if like you said, if Rhea Ripley had been champion for a little while, or at least been in regular NXT for a little while and kind of solidified herself there. But because Charlotte Flair can handle taking a loss, okay? Because she's fucking Charlotte Flair. Nobody's going to judge her any differently if she loses or whatever. But if Rhea Ripley loses, that's going to damage her.
I don't think you. And the thing is I don't know if it'll damage her, but it'll because she's young yet.
Well, she'll be able to recover, but what I'm saying is, if you're booking the match and you're planning on Charlotte losing, then okay, fine, I can understand the storyline. But if you're planning on Rhea losing, why do the storyline at all? Because she was on fire.
Well, again, I can tell you why.
Well, I get it. It's for ratings to get people to watch NXT, but as a person that's watched NXT for a while now.
Yeah, but you're watching
I just
NXT
don't like where it's going.
You're watching again. I'm saying this. You're watching NXT for different reasons. Why do? I'll explain this. And I think I talked about this. You look at NXT, okay? You look at AEW. Who's watching those shows?
True wrestling fans?
Okay. You look at Raw and SmackDown. Who's watching those shows?
Casual fans.
Exactly. So that's why they want those casual fans to watch NXT. That's why they're doing it.
I mean, I get it, but I don't know.
Just because you get it doesn't mean you need to like it. I'm
not.
That's
not what I'm saying. I'm just explaining why they are doing this.
No, I just what I'm saying is.
Like, I get it, but it seems like
I understand why they're doing it.
It is.
Yeah, it seems.
I agree.
But I understand why they're doing it. But in the same sense, I feel like, okay, if I'm pretty much a hardcore wrestling fan, Basement's a hardcore wrestling fan, most of us, or all of us on this call are, if we're being kind of not driven away, but kind of slowly pushed away from it, then I feel like that, like, most of the hardcore wrestling fans are going to be pushed away from it. And that's the baseline for NXT's audience. So why push the base of your audience out for
NXT
casual fans?
Transforming into SmackDown too. And I'm going to say right now, Rhea Ripley is Roman Reigns.
I don't know.
I honest to God think she's going to be pushed exactly the same as Roman Reigns.
I don't like it either because I actually like NXT. And it's been the best of all the shows that I've watched. All of them.
Consistently, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
And
I would have to agree too.
And now, with them incorporating, just adding Charlotte takes away from NXT. And it's nothing against
it's the idea
Charlotte.
behind Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble and challenging for an NXT title.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You can't just turn around and just because NXT is on TV now say it's just as important as the Raw Championship. Like you can't ask me to buy that just because Charlotte decided to challenge for it. It's not gonna happen, and I honestly think Rhea Ripley has been like she's reminding me of the female Roman Reigns a lot, and I think she can talk on the mic, she can work decent in the ring. I haven't seen a great match from Rhea Ripley, but I haven't seen a bad one. She's good. It's just fucking put the title on her, make her the face of the company immediately.
Yep. When the casual fan really isn't a very good term because if you're a true wrestling fan, a casual fan I think is just a term used for those fans that just don't
watch when they have nothing else on TV or just check it out every now and then.
Or they're scanning through channels and they stop.
Because these people watch Roman Reigns because he's the hottest thing since Wonder
I would say they're actually fanatics.
Yeah,
well,
the people that are in love with the wrestlers more than they are the wrestling.
Yeah,
those are probably my most hated fans ever because they're crazy fucking people.
They aren't there for the wrestling; they're there for the wrestlers. And
Yeah, they're there to superimpose their face on a picture with the wrestler.
or
or the hugging selfies and
Or
weird
they're married.
shit like that.
or they take a picture where they have. I've seen a picture of Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, and this person cut out Becky Lynch or cut out Seth Rollins, and that person was put there as another
Well,
girl.
it's the person that you ask, why is this person one of your favorite wrestlers? I just like them. You just want to fucking have them inside of you or be inside of them. You like them because you're attracted to them, because you're now obsessed with them, because you have some fucked up way to look at the world.
Yep, agreed. So somebody joined the call. He's been fucking.
Hi, Bobbit.
He's been whining and crying
He
because
said
he's
hi
been
Bobbit a
fucking
while
ignored.
ago. Yes,
I'm gonna stop the conversation just because Bobbit got here. What's going on, man?
I've seen him in the chat before, but he was talking about taters, and we were talking about NXT. So.
He was getting your attention so that you knew he was there. What's up, Bobbit?
Yeah.
See?
What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
Oh, you sound so quiet.
Yeah, you are really quiet.
Holy shit, he got his fucking shit fixed. Before he come in there, you can fucking hear everything going on. The other night, I heard his dad fucking getting ice in the next room over. Like, fuck. Turn your fucking microphone down. What's up, man? Good talk, motherfucker.
What's up, man?
You are quiet as fuck, man.
I can barely hear you, dude.
Good.
That's good.
Oh my god.
Did you watch SmackDown last night, Bobbit?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I actually thought it was really good.
What did you think about Asuka?
I ain't gonna get into that.
We'll get it.
We'll see this. So,
Let's get into it.
My favorite promo of the week has to be Randy Orton. No, it has to be AJ Styles on the Undertaker.
I didn't. Yeah, I honestly didn't.
The reason why I say that is, when was the last time they actually used the Undertaker's real name in a promo?
The last time was actually Ken.
Well, she disconnected herself.
Yeah. My thing is, like, I would be okay with him doing what he did if this is the last Undertaker match. Yeah. But fuck, the last Undertaker match already took place, and he came back, and then he got new hips, and then he came back.
The feud between Undertaker and AJ Styles would have been great 5 years ago. I literally do not give a fuck about this match.
Am I here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you?
Sorry, my fucking microphone. It disconnected itself again. But no, what I was saying was the last time was in the late '90s. Ken Shamrock called him Mark Calloway in a promo.
Vince has done it numerous times.
Didn't Paul Heyman do it?
Paul Heyman's done it.
One thing I didn't like about the AJ Styles promo was when he started talking about Michelle McCool and stuff like that. It kind of like I didn't mind, and I actually kind of liked him referring to him as Mark Calloway and going from there. But the whole thing with Michelle McCool, I was just like, why is this part of the conversation of why you're going to I'm going to do it for Michelle?
And this is where the problem is going to lie in with me, and I think I actually think they're going to fucking do it. Yes. Well, with AJ Styles, yes. Is we have gone away from, or we just got over this fucking Lana and Bobby Lashley story, and now we're going to incorporate fucking wives into another fucking feud, which I don't want.
And if you think about it, it's been done already because what was it, last year or whatever it was, with who was it that was obsessed with AJ's wife? Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe. Yeah, he wasn't obsessed. He was just trying to get under. He actually did a really good job of getting under the story that they told. Getting under his skin. That's pretty much
with his little girl. Like that one was a good one.
Yeah,
I would have preferred this match to be built upon I am regarded as one of the best in the business. Just be honest with it. And I am about to fight somebody that I've always wanted to fight and that everybody thought would be a dream match. Come out and just say exactly why you would. Call him out on being an old man. Sure. Call him out by his first name. Don't involve Michelle McCool because there's no point. But keep it focused on the actual match. Keep it focused on this being something that nobody thought they would see because we don't really have that right now at WrestleMania. And that's probably what I would go with. I didn't mind his promo. It's just it went too long and it went too into something I didn't care for because certain matches don't need tertiary characters being involved in them.
Yep. No, I agree. The Edge thing was pretty good though. I did like that. He didn't do much talking. He just came out and did what he needed to do. I was skeptical of it, but I actually, because he didn't say much, it was okay. Thoughts? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with the Edge Randy Orton storyline. This is the storyline that's fueling WrestleMania for me, so I can get behind it. I don't know what I expect out of the match because I don't think it's going to be great, but with the two people involved, I think they could tell a great story in ring. It might not be the greatest wrestling, but the story should be good.
Yep. And I do want to talk about this. Basement, you actually brought it. Was that Wednesday or Thursday? Some guy had said, "Hey,
Oh
uh,
God,
let's put Edge and Kevin Owens in a tag team, and then they can feud later." Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why don't you just? They have no history. Why have them tag? Why don't you just have him
it
have a
would
feud?
make more sense for Edge to actually get help from fucking Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Kevin Owens, the only reason that this person was saying that is because someone came up with a graphic that said RKO or rated whatever the fuck it was. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it had R and then
KO.
KO. It's not needed, and I don't. My thing is, and I don't know if you've seen it. I actually responded to dumbass because I said, "Do you think Edge wants to be in?" So what you're telling me is that every time he ends a feud, you want him to jump into another tag team so he can start another feud with somebody. You're wasting his time. I think he has more important things that he would like to do. In fact, I don't know how long he's going to actually wrestle for
Or how often?
or how often, but for him, that just he
But
might
like,
want
here's
to
the
do
thing:
dream matches, and that's it. It's
you
do
want
Seth Rollins, do AJ Styles, and then get the fuck out. Because he's like almost 50. Plus, he did have that neck thing, and there's no telling he may get hurt again.
But you want to sit there and build a feud off of a tag team that eventually breaks up. You are honestly you need to realize that has to be about a year long. Look at DIY. Look at any feud that mattered when the two tag teams broke up. You can't pair them together for 3 months and break them up and expect anybody to care.
And here's the thing with that I think that's why people are saying that because of how good, and this is a
Look how
detriment
long
to
that
that.
took.
Yeah, no, and then I agree, but that's why people are wanting it because it was so good with Gargano and Ciampa that people seem to think that WWE can do that with every fucking tag team. No, that is not what they can do. And and to be honest with you, and then Jeannie, you can go ahead. It is actually a detriment to the tag team division if you keep doing that
Agreed.
shit.
I agree completely with that because like Basement was saying, if you look at every tag team that eventually went on to like feud with each other, there was always at least a year before that. You go all the way back DX, DIY, fucking even Jericho and Kevin Owens had like what an 8 month at least build to that before they turned on each other. at the Festival of Friendships. So like you have to have time, and with Edge, you don't know how much time you have.
Or how much he wants to.
It's just not the right way. If you
Exactly.
want him to have a feud with Kevin Owens, just make a feud with Kevin Owens.
Yep.
Don't fucking sidestep that shit. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
And not only that, but Kevin Owens is actually a face at the moment. So how are you going to do that?
Right, just turn.
Well, turn him heel, because you can do that with every character. Turn them face, turn them heel, turn them face,
Yeah, but
turn them heel. Everybody's Big Show all of a sudden.
Right, and that's another thing that has been like detrimental to so many characters in wrestling is it in WWE especially is because they are flip flopping between face and heel so much that nobody knows what the fuck they are anymore.
And why use Kevin Owens to further Edge, who's going to be out of the business in 2 years?
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense. It should be the opposite way around. So, if in the end, it doesn't, like, the whole argument was stupid. Put them together, put them so that they could eventually feud in 1 year. Like, but why, man? Just make them. If you want to see them fight, just let them fight. If you want to see them a tag team, in what world would you bring Edge back from a career-ending injury to put him in a tag team when he's almost 50 years old?
Either that or have them team up for like one night only. Tag team one night only.
Well, they could be
and then
faces on the same side.
And that's what I'm saying.
Like Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens.
And then it could be one of those mutual respect things. Kevin Owens could say, hey, I've always respected you. I've always dreamt of wrestling you. And there's a dream match.
See, that I think is one thing that WWE and most promotions actually, or just wrestling in general, misses a lot. Why does, at this day and age, not every feud needs to be built on bad guy versus good guy?
Right.
You have enough of it already. Why can't you be built off of these two people are the best in the business and they deserve to fight each other?
Which, like you said, is exactly how AJ and Undertaker should have been built.
Yeah, but AJ's the bad guy, and the two people accompanying him might as well be fucking pylons. Because they're garbage. Holy fuck, these two. Like, you have Carl Anderson coming on fucking social media. Well, I have 17 houses. Okay, good. But I can't stand looking at you. So you can have all the houses you want, but you're only going to be able to live in one of them at a time. So I don't give it. I literally don't give a shit about that.
I don't understand why those two weren't sent back to NXT with Finn Balor, and they could have formed the new version of the Bullet Club down in NXT.
WWE didn't make champs. What? Ciampa and Gargano. They made them less than they used to be. I guess it could be. I don't understand. Hold on. Is Bing saying WWE didn't make Ciampa and Gargano? They made them less than they used to be. I guess it could work when the belts. I don't understand.
Well, I think what they're saying is that like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa were better before WWE.
I disagree.
That's a complete falsehood. Then I didn't know who they were. First of all, I mean, Ciampa was a fucking lawyer at some point in time in WWE.
Yes, he was. I think what he's saying is they were better as a tag team, and I totally disagree with that. I
totally disagree too. But I did love them as a tag team. One of my favorite tag teams. But it's. You know what? This is the natural progression for tag teams, or it should be.
Yeah.
And I believe that they should have gone back to DIY and kept that for a little while longer before they started feuding again. Because this last feud, it's kind of like, but why? We've already seen it 3 times. That's just the way I felt about it.
Right now, this is like they've already gone way too far with the Ciampa Gargano stuff, in my honest opinion. I guess it was like laywayed by injury and certain other things, but they're going back to the well. This is another problem that I had with NXT outside of the Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair. Going back to the well one too many times. You kind of stretch people with the last time this happened. Now, I mean, even though I love the fact that they broke up the Performance Center, I didn't care.
And then that's the thing. I think that if they would have kept them together as DIY for a while before doing this again, then people wouldn't have felt that way. Because, yeah, we've seen them fight already 3 times. But if you give it enough time in between the fights, then people will look forward to that fight again. There wasn't enough time between these fights.
It's just I don't know with everything that's gone on with them and all the injuries that has happened. That the feud that could potentially be this big payoff has lost steam, and even destroying the performance center doesn't bring it back because they've been kind of back and forth with each other. They're both kind of now Johnny Gargano's kind of like the heel. It just NXT is in a weird place for me.
Yeah, it's in a really weird place for me right now. I haven't even watched it. I did like the match between Matt Riddle and the tag team match. It did what it needed to.
Why did you have to mention them? Because now I just got Matt Riddle and fucking Pete Dunne's fucking uniform in my head again. Ugh. Yeah, dude, that fucking thing that I shared in the chat, that fucking light dude, the switch thing.
Sorry.
I can't get it out of my head.
You'll be alright. So I mean, Gargano and Ciampa, I don't think were watered down at all. I've never seen Ciampa wrestle outside of WWE.
Yeah. Both of those guys went through it. They both went through a physical and in-ring transformation. Yeah. Both guys have honestly stepped up their game together as time has gone on. And I mean, to say either of them were worse than they currently are anywhere else, and I don't know if that's what you're saying, but just in general, that will never make sense to me because I haven't I'm with you. I haven't seen him in other places, but like at this point in time, Ciampa I can't imagine Ciampa being better somewhere else or Gargano.
And I've seen Gargano wrestle outside of WWE, and he's really no different than he was outside of WWE. I don't see a difference with him. So for him,
his mic work has gotten a lot better.
His mic work has gotten a lot better.
I look at it this way, okay? Ciampa now compared to when Ciampa came in, okay? Ciampa now, for his size, he is probably one of the best physical specimens in WWE.
He's
I mean, the guy has like fucking 0.2 body fat. You know,
he reminds me of Triple H a lot.
Yes, he's ridiculous. And as far as like both of their promo work has significantly been getting better, especially Johnny Gargano. Ciampa for me always kind of had it, but even Ciampa, especially when he was playing that heel, great job, and he just kept progressively getting better.
This is probably as close as we're gonna get to Triple H and Shawn Michaels because they both remind me so much of each other. Gargano less for me than Gargano. Shawn Michaels is less, but Ciampa and Triple H to me is so similar because they like Ciampa's a bit more versatile in the ring, but he's still kind of the same. He does lack. I'm going to say right now, wrestling needs to kind of slow down.
I agree.
Because you can't tell a story when you're flying all over the place. It's very difficult. You need to kind of slow down. Triple H did this a lot. He wasn't the greatest wrestler, but his moves had impact, and had impact within the character he was building. And I think Ciampa could learn a bit more from that in ring, and just slow down a bit and make the impact be known with the crowd and let the crowd kind of like simmer on that impact.
Right.
But wrestling has gone to a place where everybody needs to be moving all the time. So.
Well, I mean, these two guys are incredibly good when Triple H himself says that they both remind him so much of himself and Shawn Michaels. And Triple H even went on to say that Tommaso Ciampa reminds him of himself, but better. Like, as far as in-ring work, he said his in-ring work is better.
His in-ring psychology is worse. And Gargano is worse than Shawn Michaels. He doesn't remind me.
Hard to beat Shawn Michaels.
He doesn't really remind me of Shawn Michaels that much.
Shawn Michaels had that charisma about him, and that's why it's going to be almost impossible to find somebody that comes close to him.
Ciampa doesn't really remind me of Shawn Michaels. The only fact that he's paired with Ciampa, I don't know. In the end, I would say Gargano's good and everything, but he's his own beast. Ciampa is good and everything, but he's kind of his own guy too. But he does remind me, just his like storyline and where he's come and how he looks and how he operates reminds me a lot of the same path that Triple H took. But in-ring psychology, there's really, I'm trying to pinpoint a wrestler that actually has it outside of Randy Orton,
Matt,
and none of them really do.
Matt Riddle.
No,
I
he
mean,
doesn't.
I don't know if he has some psychology.
Not on the same level, because a lot of New Age wrestlers don't let the impact simmer. They don't allow the storyline to take place before they've moved on to the next move.
I mean, honestly, and I'm being honest here, the only person that I can think that even remotely comes close, and they're still not close, would be like a Jay White, because Jay White he has incredible, like, he gets in the mind of the person that he's wrestling. It's incredible in-ring psychology. A lot of people in New Japan are like that, but it still doesn't come up to Triple H's level.
Well, maybe like in-ring psychology is the wrong word. I'm more like letting the story take its time in ring. Like, yeah, I don't know. Everybody seems to be telling a short story in ring. Yeah. The best stories are the ones that take their time. The people that kind of like work somebody, and they certain moves need to simmer instead of just running. You need to let certain impact sit with the fans. Someone hits someone brutally hard. We need to have that time to digest that before the next move hits.
So would you say
Kota
that, like,
Ibushi, not Kota Ibushi, Okada does this.
I was just gonna say, like, would you say like Kazuchika Okada comes pretty damn close?
Okada is probably up there with Randy Orton. John Cena never really, like, he gets us a little bit, but he's so 5 spots of doom that every move he does there's gonna take time afterwards.
Well, and not only that, but John Cena, like, for me, he panders to the crowd too much to have like that actual in-ring psychology.
I would say Brock Lesnar could do this if he wasn't booked to be the person he is.
Basement, I'm trying to think, like, we all watched like, just not even a month ago, we all watched a match. Was it at Revolution that we were talking about how incredible that in-ring psychology was?
Right.
At Revolution. No, well, I mean, I think we were watching Elimination Chamber and just pinpointing selling and stuff like that, and who could sell and who's selling well.
We were watching something, and we were talking about how fucking incredible the in-ring psychology was, and I cannot remember what it was.
In-ring psychology.
I don't, unless you're talking about Dustin Rhodes, but
no.
No, I feel like in-ring psychology, like, I mean,
I don't.
To me, that's like, that's not just like telling a story, and it's how the story is told. And Randy Orton does this a lot, and I think it has to be like, sometimes you need to take your time and not speed through things. And most modern wrestling doesn't do that.
It wasn't that Takahashi match, was it? Takahashi versus Rio Lee?
No, the Slapfest?
Yeah, that was just hard hitting. I can't remember what it was.
It was the Kota Ibushi match.
Yeah, was it Kota Ibushi versus Okada?
No.
Which Kota Ibushi?
Wait. What was the first match of the 2 nights?
Kota Ibushi,
that was Kota Ibushi versus Okada.
Yeah, well, that was it then.
Well, and even Kota Ibushi versus Jay White from the second night with the whole Gato thing.
Yeah, but that to me, I mean, I would say Kota Ibushi versus Okada was fucking.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, the Kota Ibushi and Jay White match was more about Gato fucking taking that punch.
Gato was just like funny. I wouldn't really put that in the realm of like storytelling. But like the Okada and Ibushi kind of like, because I've always looked at Ibushi as being like this,
Someone who's trying to kill themselves?
No, he was always kind of like the boy the girls take home to kind of like not like the bad boy or anything like that, like the mama's boy, fucking everybody loves them.
Good boy.
Yeah, the good boy. And he like turned in that match after being dropped on his head 17 times.
Right.
And half of the time he dropped himself on his head 17 times.
Yeah. That match is really good storytelling, and they slow down. They speed up a lot, but they slow down when they need to. That's what's missing. Like Ricochet, miles away from any of these people, because all he does is speed up. Yep. He doesn't know how to slow down. And the best thing I've ever heard was he needs to learn the opposite of a lot of people. He needs to learn how to make things look difficult. And that goes for so many people because in wrestling nowadays, because they're all super athletes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
the one thing that I did not like that has been happening, not within this past like 3 weeks, because obviously there's been New Japan, but within the past couple of pay-per-views, since Wrestle Kingdom. At Wrestle Kingdom, not only night 1, but night 2 against Jay White, we saw a flash of Kota Ibushi, like this like wild look in his eyes, where we were like, he's turning heel, he's got to be turning heel. Instead of capitalizing on that and turning him heel, they paired him up with Tanahashi and they won the tag titles.
He's John Cena.
But the only way that this is going to be saved for me is if he turns. Like if they lose the tag titles and then he turns on Tanahashi. But it's not going to happen because he's the fucking his name.
Because he's the fucking teenage heartthrob. Fucking, they gotta love him because he's a good guy.
He's literally called their golden star. He is their golden boy, aside from Okada.
He's John Cena.
But that was one thing that I really didn't.
He's not exactly young either.
No, he's what, like 36?
38.
Yeah. Which you would never guess by looking at him. What the fuck?
Yeah, he looks like a
fucking. He looks like he was about 60 years old, and then got hit with gamma radiation. The guy looks half like a woman, half like a man, ripped to all fucking hell.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's because, like, never mind.
Heart's Desire.
Well,
Jeff Hardy's.
He misses Kenny Omega. So that being said, what else is there? Bobby, you got anything since you're late?
I mean, hot takes.
Because you had to watch Frozen 2. Is there any news? Is there any news out there that we may have missed? Go ahead and talk about what you know, and we'll tell you if we talk about it. That sounds like a fun game. Go ahead. Give me something.
Okay. Shit about the My Coronavirus.
Yep, we already talked about it.
All right. How WrestleMania is going to get canceled here in the next week?
I don't think it's getting canceled.
So say WrestleMania gets postponed.
Okay.
What does WWE do exactly? Because we talked about the Edge storyline only having so much steam, and they started it too early already.
Yep.
If it has to hold another month over, that's the one big storyline that's going to fall by the wayside.
Yep.
So what do they really do? Well, because they haven't built the builds for most things don't need any time.
Here's what I would do.
No.
If God forbid WrestleMania gets postponed till let's say July, I'd have whatever pay-per-view those were going to be after WrestleMania put them before, like put Extreme Rules at the end of April inside the Performance Center. So that way you'll still have some of the Mania matches, but they won't take as long. I say Mania for like the special shit.
So then what would you do to book Mania? Like you would have to hurry up and book Mania. My suggestion would just be to like mix in SummerSlam and WrestleMania together.
I don't say that. I say just do wrestling, change the date. You're gonna have to, because that's essentially what they're gonna have to do.
Well,
don't
and
change
I think
the date too far down the line because it like if you wait until fucking July to do WrestleMania, essentially you're killing fucking Drew McIntyre too.
Well, and it all depends on the arena because it depends on when that arena is going to be able to be free because it's going to be baseball season too.
They don't play baseball in that stadium. It's only football.
They don't? Okay, so then you're good.
Yes. They play football in that stadium. And,
oh, well, we got a while before football.
Yeah. Well, think about this. And the Tampa Bay, well, the Vipers probably going to be on the road that day, so whatever. But I don't know. I if they cancel it, they're fucking, it is.
No, JP, the NFL season's canceled.
No, what?
XFL season's
I
canceled.
know it is.
The XFL season's canceled this
I
year.
got you. I know.
Okay.
I was going to say they would have been away anyway if you would have heard what I said.
As pertaining to WrestleMania, I say like the only way that it will get postponed is if they absolutely have to. Like if Florida officials say, no, this is not happening, then that's going to be the only way that it, otherwise Vince is not going to postpone it.
So what I'll say is like, regardless of what could potentially happen, if it does get postponed, how could or would you handle what's going on, considering that they're going to continue to do shows from the Performance Center?
Personally, I would just take Randy Orton and Edge off TV until you get a date and then bring him back and start the storyline all over again. I know it sucks, but that's the only way.
I will forget about it, and I won't care.
Like that's the only storyline that needs to take place as soon as possible.
Either that,
because
or
they don't have much to go on.
I mean, either that, or you just have the match in an empty arena.
No, that would be terrible.
I mean, there's really not much other option except for just taking him off TV for a little while.
It is a detriment to WWE if they cancel WrestleMania. So I'm just be honest with you. It's a detriment to them if they cancel it.
Well,
why do you think Vince knows this?
I mean, it'd be a detriment to Randy Orton, especially, but to some of the other matches, I mean, they're built on nothing. Like Roman Reigns and Goldberg is built on what?
Wait a minute. I just had an idea.
Wait.
All right. If Mania gets postponed, another Saudi show.
God, no.
But they can't travel.
Yeah, there's no travel. They won't be able to get back into the U.S. When is WrestleMania?
April 6th.
It's in a couple of weeks.
April 5th?
3 weeks. 3 weeks, actually.
That's 3 weeks away. Like, we should be fine by then.
Why do you think I keep saying they're not canceling it? I don't think they're canceling it. I don't think they will. The travel ban will be lifted by then. And it's not what people are forgetting. What people are forgetting is that you can travel here, but you will be vetted. You will be vetted.
I'm telling you right now, if WrestleMania can't go live, there is literally no way it's being done for the Performance Center.
Right?
No.
That was a 30-day travel ban that Trump put in.
But he did not, again, I'm telling you right now, you can still travel to and from. You just, depending on whether or not I can't even remember what it was said. Look, I work for the government. We can't travel.
He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
No, I'm trying to word it right. No. We can't travel to Europe.
We had the same thing. Now it's anywhere, basically.
Yeah. Well,
the thing for anywhere is like you can travel outside of Canada, but you're not going to be able to come back.
Yeah, you can't get back.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean it's it's going to be a detriment if they have to postpone Mania, but it's also going to be a detriment if the travel ban is still on and they can't get those fans from outside of the U.S.
Like I said, that's the
not,
only way they're going to make it up to them.
It's not going to be a detriment to Vince because, like Basement said, they'll be able to sell the seats.
Yes.
Yeah, I just like I like this story. It's the storylines. The WrestleMania was already shit anyway. In my honest opinion, I think it was terribly made, terribly booked, and like it's like the only thing I actually care about is probably gonna be worse off for it. This is probably or could potentially be the worst WrestleMania in a long fucking time.
And the sad thing is, it was booked like that before this stupid virus came. So
yep.
Like I said, it just pisses me off so bad because I know they can do better.
They only care about Edge and Orton for some reason.
Yeah, they do.
They're considering the names of Roman Reigns and Goldberg to sell tickets. Yeah, but Goldberg can't rest. The guy can't do shit, man. He's a fucking geriatric cunt bag. He goes for a jackhammer. He can barely do a suplex. The guy goes to spear someone. Half the time he fucking brains himself and bleeds out for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Honestly, so far there are only 2 matches at WrestleMania that I am looking forward to, and it was Orton and Edge, and Brock and McIntyre.
Yeah. I don't want to. I actually don't want to see Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I don't want to.
Either.
Me neither.
Don't even get me started on Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. That's going to be piss break. Man. Piss break.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I want to see Cena and the Fiend.
I don't.
You know what? I could have got behind that if it was regular shows and they had 3 weeks to build towards it properly.
Yeah.
But
I will say that last night's promos between the two of them, like I found it interesting. It's just I didn't find it interesting enough to be Mania.
I found it one of those. This was a prototypical John Cena promo. It wasn't one of those John Cena promos where everybody's like, "I get with you," because what he's saying is not like he almost kind of like goes with what the audience is saying on Twitter and stuff like that. But he didn't really have anything to go on because he came out saying he shouldn't be wrestling.
His entire promo pretty much just sounded like he was going after Vince.
Well, he was blaming all of the other people for not stepping up. And, well, not really. He was blaming The Fiend for not... his promo didn't even make fucking sense. Because he was like, I want to see Drew McIntyre to be... people like Drew McIntyre and people like all these younger names. And then he's like, not The Fiend. Why?
Well, the thing that pisses me off the most with this match is you know what's going to happen. Because, like, John Cena is not... He's only a part-time wrestler. So you know that the only reason why he's being booked for Mania is to build The Fiend back up again. So just the fact that I know the outcome of that match already is pissing me off.
Well, are you sure you know the outcome of that match?
I'm going to say now.
If The Fiend doesn't win, then they might as well just write him off.
I think that's what they're going to do.
Man, this is my honest, like, suspicion for WrestleMania. I feel like The Fiend will beat John Cena. I feel like Roman Reigns will beat Goldberg. And I have this bad feeling Brock Lesnar is going to beat McIntyre. Because they're not going to make everybody in the same position go over. They won't. One of those 3 are going to lose. And if they're not booking McIntyre and Brock Lesnar last, right now, if they're saying that, if they're saying Roman Reigns and Goldberg are going out last, and McIntyre has gotten the upper hand of Brock Lesnar so far.
Yeah.
I have this bad feeling Brock Lesnar's going to retain, and everybody's going to go being like, fuck.
I'm going to call it right now, and if Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre does not end the show, then they are going to start the show. Because if you remember...
If they start the show... Brock Lesnar's return.
No, it's actually the first match of the night that starts the show is actually one of the biggest matches aside from the show that ends the show.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying Brock Lesnar's going to retain if they start the show.
But if you remember the last time that Brock Lesnar was in a title match, and they had that whole storyline where he threw a fit because he wasn't going to be the.
That was last year's WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Yes.
he threw a fit because he wasn't going to be the
Main
last
event.
match,
Yeah.
the main event. So he demanded to go on first.
And that's when Seth Rollins fucking kicked the shit out of him.
All I'm
Right.
saying, tone deaf WWE. If they're gonna put Goldberg and Roman Reigns on last, they're gonna have Roman Reigns win.
I don't
Right?
think that they're going to go on last, honestly. I think it's going to be Brock versus Drew. I just think that was Roman, and Roman is thinking this is a big match, which it is.
But I still
So
think
it's
Roman
one of the
Reigns is
main
gonna
events
beat
for-
Goldberg, right?
Reigns is going to beat Goldberg. I have a feeling that McIntyre is going to go over on Brock, and I think the Fiend is going to lose.
I think he's going to
Cena.
lose too. I think they're going to kill off the Fiend. I really do.
In my honest opinion,
Such a fucking
the
shame.
way I would have booked this at this point in time, because I don't give a shit about Goldberg and Roman Reigns. I'd have Goldberg beat Roman Reigns because I don't give a fuck about them at all. I would have had McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar, and I would have The Fiend beat John Cena, and have Undertaker beat AJ Styles. They're 50-50 booking.
Well, and that's another thing too. I think AJ Styles is going to beat the Undertaker.
Something's not going to go this way.
So
Well, it's either going to be Orton beating Edge, or it's going to be AJ Styles beating the Undertaker.
Edge is going to beat Orton.
Edge is going to win, which is why I think AJ is going to beat Undertaker.
Reign. If Goldberg or Reigns wins, people are going to be mad either way. So
that's why I can't go on last.
He said if Cena, Goldberg, or Reigns and Brock win, people will be mad. Unless you say, because either way, if Goldberg or Reigns wins, essentially what he's saying is Goldberg or Reigns wins, people are going to be mad. Well, then they're just going to be mad.
And here's the thing. The WWE does not give a fuck if their fans are mad. Because guess what? Even the mad fans are still going to turn in the next night to watch it to see what happens.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, I just feel like they'd probably want to send their fans home happy. And I don't see that happening without Drew McIntyre beating Brock Lesnar in the last match.
Well, especially they've built Drew McIntyre up to the point where he is one of the only people left that can beat Brock Lesnar. So I don't see him losing to Brock Lesnar. I mean, especially since the guy, he's put in the work. And I think Vince sees that. And I know Vince sees that because otherwise he wouldn't be in the position that he's in.
Well, especially as well because Brock Lesnar is not his record's no longer as clean as it used to be, losing to Seth Rollins the way that he did at SummerSlam. What it means to beat Brock Lesnar, in my mind, isn't what it used to mean to beat Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
After that loss, and Seth Rollins literally was a tag team, fucking weirdo walking around with one glove.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, but Mania, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, the right decision is McIntyre winning. Goldberg and Roman, I don't give a shit about. I could go either way. I don't care. Edge needs to win, and The Fiend needs to win. AJ Styles can lose to Undertaker if that means the other things happen.
Yep.
The only thing that I see benefiting, and this is going to sound really fucked up, and I don't mean it the way that it's going to come out, but the only good thing that I can see coming out of this whole coronavirus thing and, the empty stadiums and all that is when WWE does come back, they're going to come back big, which is why I'm hoping that comeback doesn't come until WrestleMania, because then they're going to come back and they're going to be, like a fucking punch in the gut, and that's what this WrestleMania needs.
Yeah.
Right now, you got Rhea Ripley or Charlotte Flair.
Rhea Ripley. I don't think either of them are going to. I think it's going to end in a disqualification.
I'm going Charlotte.
Nah, it's going to end in a draw, I think. Or some kind of disqualification of some kind.
But then usually when that happens, it has to continue.
I'm going
I
to
don't
say
want
that
to
it's going to be
continue.
Rhea Ripley because, like I said, I don't think that Rhea Ripley can handle that loss right now.
I don't. I.
I don't know, man. She's rocket packed to John Cena.
Agreed. Yeah, we'll see. I think she can handle the loss. I think she's young enough and she's over enough where she probably could take the loss.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. We'll see.
I think they've built up a feud that is ready to take place afterwards with Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Flair can take a loss.
Now I
She can
could
take the
see.
loss. Yes.
Now I could see Bianca interfering right before that match, and it ends up becoming a triple threat.
No, I don't want to fucking see Bianca Belair. No.
No, I don't want to
If they
see it
do
either. I'm
that,
just saying I
people are
could
gonna
see it
be.
happening.
If they do that, people are gonna be even more fucking pissed. Telling you, I don't fucking want to see, and it's not just me. I don't want to see Bianca Belair anywhere near that match ever.
You know she's going to be there.
Well, she's gonna interfere. I just don't want her to be in the match. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Oh, please God, no. I can't stand her.
I'm with you.
You know, and I don't understand why she does the whole like fucking braid thing and everything. Because I just seen her on Twitter the other day in that like WWE Women with No Makeup thing for Women's Day,
Yeah.
and she's actually a very very pretty girl. When I mean, she's pretty with her hair up. Don't get me wrong, but she's very pretty when she just looks natural and relaxed, and her hair's down and stuff. So
My question is with the WWE with no women thing, why are they being like shot in like the dimmest light possible?
I don't know. It's sexy apparently. That and the fact that none of them were wearing makeup, so I'm pretty sure they didn't want bright lights all on.
That could be.
Well, that's just
I
not say
mean,
anything.
let's face it, you know, us women, we don't exactly look the greatest when we don't have our makeup on.
I don't know what to tell you. But yeah. Anything else out there?
No.
Correct?
Not that I can think of.
That's a first. Bobbin, anything else?
Not that I could think of, bro.
Okay. Basement, you got anything else?
Who's the exalted one?
Who cares?
Brody Lee.
I am.
Brody
It's
Lee.
Brody Lee.
I hope it's Jordan Miles.
I hate you.
I mean, how hilarious would that be?
Don't you put that jinx on us? Fucker just comes out and fucking smiley.
Racist.
Go ahead.
He smiled all the time. How was that racist? Jesus
No,
fuck.
that's what he would be yelling while smiling all the time.
I thought you were calling me racist. I was like, what the fuck?
But that being said, we're gonna get out of here. Fuck this goddamn bullshit that's going on with this whole thing. Apparently, you can't say the word or else you get shut down.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, what? Look, man.
You
Wash
can't
your
say
hands.
the word? I didn't know that.
Wash
Here's
your
the thing.
hands.
Did people not know what soap was before this?
Apparently.
Jeez.
But the thing is, it's a respiratory illness that's spread off of like saliva, from my understanding.
Well, what I'd like to know is, what the hell does toilet paper have to do with this?
Oh god,
Nothing.
that's an excellent
People
question.
just,
That is
like,
100% what we've been asking the
The
entire.
world's ending. I need to wipe my ass before I die.
Apparently. I don't know, man. People just need to stop, take a deep breath. Everything's gonna be fine. This happens like once every 4 or 5 years. There's a new strand of whatever the fuck, and if they figure it out.
The flu has mutated. That's all it is.
Yes, it is. It's mutated fucking 5 times in the last 20 years.
Here's
It
my
mutates
question,
pretty
though.
much every year. So
Right? Here's my question, though. Like, were we not all taught at a very early age how to properly wash our hands and how to sneeze?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, these are precautions, so it's not going to stop things from happening.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, fuck everybody.
Yeah. Stop buying shit, you stupid assholes. If I need bleach, I should be able to go to the store and get bleach.
But I need to bleach my asshole.
That's unfortunate. But so that being said, we're gonna get out of here. Again, don't buy all the toilet paper because they're out of diapers. Right away.
Yeah,
People are fucking
I heard
hoarding
that
diapers too. It's like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
What?
One of
Yes.
my friends she has two babies that are in diapers and she cannot find diapers anywhere. So she was actually on Facebook like begging people if they know of where she can buy diapers, and she said she'll actually pay double the price for anybody that had diapers. That's how desperate she is.
It's just stupid. But everybody hang in there, be safe, wash your hands, cover your fucking mouth. Don't spit on people, don't sneeze on people. Just don't be fucking disgusting. That's
We should put everybody in like those doggy cones.
So,
I mean, to be honest with you, this whole thing, it's like it's coming to the point where right now it's a national emergency. Next thing you know, they're going to call martial law. The next thing after that, they're going to be like, all right, the next time we see somebody out, we're going to shoot them on point. It's like, get the fuck out of here. That is what this is coming to, and it doesn't need to escalate to that point. All I got to say is Mockingjay, or whatever that fucking movie was.
No, don't speak of it.
I love those books.
No, they're terrible. Here.
No, you shut your mouth.
So this is the tweet I was talking about earlier. A doctor I spoke to today called this the paradox of preparation, and it's the key dynamic in all this. The only way to get ahead of the curve is to take actions that, at the time, seem like overreactions. Example: Japan closing all schools for a month with very few confirmed cases. I feel like this person is answering like one of the questions, but creating mass panic and hysteria to do that, no. So please, somebody look at the media and look at the fact of the matter is most people are fucking brain dead, and will follow a laser light as long as it's told to hold the truth of mankind.
You know, the very first thing that I did when I heard about like all of this like panic buying and stuff, I didn't run out and buy toilet paper or anything like that. I went and bought food.
Yeah, I looked up the porno and I jacked off furiously.
Well, here's the thing. Like when I heard about the 2 week, I didn't like hoard food. Don't get me wrong. But I went and I bought enough food to last me and my family for 2 weeks if we were quarantined in the house.
Yeah.
How does 2 weeks being quarantined convert to I gotta buy 26 12 roll things of toilet paper?
Oh man, people just calm your shit.
I could see it if one of the symptoms for this thing was the shits, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's a strand of the flu. It's a strand of the rhinovirus is what it is. Because I mean, people just need to take a deep breath.
Wait, so we're going to turn into rhinos now?
Shucks, the rhinovirus is a common cold, Bobbit.
Everybody just needs to take a deep breath.
I just said that.
And
shit their pants.
Meditate.
Shit their pants.
Meditate for a little while. Maybe go watch some porn and just relax.
Watch the coronavirus porn. It's comforting.
I actually. There's a
I haven't seen it, but I saw a picture.
They must you know what it is? You know what it is? It's people having sex with fucking goddamn radioactive suits on. It's stupid.
If it's not people having sex with masks on toilet paper, I don't want to see it.
Okay, basically, everybody just needs to Netflix and calm.
Yeah, but Netflix kind of sucks right now, man.
It does, kind of. Whatever, just watch.
Everybody watch Frozen 2 and kill yourself.
I mean, it's actually pretty good. I was watching it earlier.
I'm gonna 100% say that's a lie. Bobbit, you shut your whore mouth.
Everybody go watch Rise of Skywalker. It's out now.
It was
I haven't
cute,
seen
and
it
then Bella
yet.
went to bed, and I was like, "Fuck! Now I got to stop watching this," and I kind of don't want to stop.
What did you say about the Rise of Skywalker?
It's on iTunes now.
I can't give a
I
shit.
don't have iTunes though.
Or it's on PlayStation Store.
I don't have.
You have PlayStation.
I don't want to pay for it. I'm already paying for streaming services. Put them on those, for fuck's sake.
Whatever. I've been watching Game of Thrones all over.
Why isn't it on Disney Plus when they put Frozen 2 in 2 seconds?
You have to wait for that DVD or something.
I know, because they have the Frozen 2. Come on. They only did that because, like, oh, that's going to increase our sales number. Why nobody's working? Disney is the fucking monster.
They did that because all these kids are getting out of school for 2 weeks.
And people would buy Disney Plus so they can watch it.
Just to shut their kids up for a little while. I know I would.
So they did it to make money. Did they not?
I mean, I love my
So
kids.
they're basically stealing hand sanitizer and selling it at a marked up price.
That's it. They are. So that's it. Everybody have a great night. And yeah, we'll talk to you again next week-ish.
Drink your Corona. Suck off your neighbor.
Wait, what?
Leave the toilet paper alone.
Well,
You need to use it when you take a shit, Trek. God damn.
Or